Unmuted. People, it feels so good to be back. Let's fucking go. We're going to keep this one quick, but we're going to start off slow, work our way into medium, and we're not going to be Mr. Po-Po. We're not going to be black and scam. We're not going to just yap, and what do streamers do? They yap, and chat, I got to get closer to God, yap, and dude, shut the fuck up, bro. All right? Just, was it this, recently I saw a clip of Marlon. It's Marlon, but I'm going to call him Marlon just because he's not acting like Marlon. He's acting weird. I saw a clip of this guy. I don't know much about this guy, but I know when something feels off. He said, "Chad, I gotta get closer to God, and I think I'm always gonna be a Christian, but I'm gonna go to a mosque to just out of respect to show because I saw clips on Twitter of Muslims taking over New York City. You're speaking out of fear, you fucking faggot. Marlon faggotry. That dude who wears makeup. Only Clav is allowed to do shit like that because at least he's trying to get the bitches. We don't know what Marlon's doing with his little Face Clan buddies. Like, we don't see him with bitches. We just see him smiling like a woman, saying, I'm going to be really nice to Muslims. Because I saw so many in New York, and Mondani is telling me that I have no, I'm afraid of them. I'm afraid of them. And when you have to appease a group of people, by appease, I mean you legit have to bend at the knee because one day you might be in New York and you're just preparing for that day with a clip saying, this is getting too, I'm starting off too hot. I didn't even say hi. I didn't even do an intro. What am I doing? Because that's what a good speaker does. He slams the hook in. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second, but we'll start with an intro, okay? Because without an intro, we don't even know what we're recording, how we rewatch this in 20, 40 years. And after all the nuclear explosions, we don't know what's going on. We just know that it is Tuesday, February 24th. Why do you feel so good this month, Zherka? And it's because I'm in my star circuit. I'm born in this month. Right? Not just born yesterday. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Right? This year, instead of saying responding to all you guys, I said, you know what? I'll give them what I never give them. I'll give them another spaces because they like spaces. They like spaces more than camera content on the streets, right? I'll give them a spaces, right? And this is after doing a 7-hour call on thezerkaofficial.com. Do not find out that listening and watching someone, you turn into them too late. If you find that out, I found that out when I'm 23 years old. I found that out when I'm 25. You're turning into the people you listen to. Is that not the greatest thing you could tell another human being? It's like, no, you actually have no choice but to join my website. You have no choice but to join my cult. You have no choice but to trust me. But who else do you got? You got Sneeko, Nick Fuentes. Um, who else do we have? Sonny Faz on Twitter. We have Clavicular. We have so many names, and only two names are pushing for you guys to individuate. But why, Zherka? If the crowd individuates, you don't benefit. That's actually not good. No, I don't benefit. Yeah, for a couple years, many years maybe. But in the long term, right? Not only did I do the right thing, but in the long term, I get all the credit. And to me, the credit in front of our Lord, right? It's like, oh, if you ever use the Christ within to get people to a higher stepping stone, dude, you feel so healthy psychically, right? It's like a different wave of health. It's like when Ed, remember when Clavicular streamed with Nick Fuentes recently, a month ago, I think. I don't know when it was, and the whole internet was just shitting on Clav, every comment, because Clav said politics is gesture. And nobody realizes that he wasn't saying it to someone like me or anyone my age. He wasn't doing that. Clav, in his head, was, he's a smart guy. He's talking to a younger audience, like a really young audience. Like if you're 18, 19 years old, it's great to be tapped into politics. 100%. Was I tapped into politics at 18, 20 years old? I'm going to tell you the truth, man. Not really. I was watching World War II documentaries about Hitler, and people are like, "Oh, that's kind of political. That's really political, actually." And I honestly, it feels like it's niche. But hold on, let me grab my coffee. Swallow that bitch whole. Were you into politics? Yes or no at that age, Zherka? And it's like, yes, of course. One in the chat, if you were into World War II and Hitler from a very, very young age, way younger than 18, but for the sake of the argument, we'll start here. It's like, dude, the only reason we all love Nick is because that World War II stuff, like that, we started off on that. That is that side of the internet. Will always be that side of the internet. There is not one flag on earth, and I don't call them flags because remember, I don't give a shit that I say this. Any flag on earth that is not the American flag, you can have fun with those countries. You can go around, you can go eat their food, you can, be a human, right? Don't waste your incarnation. Like, go see the world. But any flag that's not an American flag, just to me, not my mentor, not the people higher ups, not no one in my group, no one in my cult, just me personally, any flag that's not the American flag is pathetic. It is pathetic in so many ways that when I finish this call, you're going to be shocked. You're going to say, "Holy shit! Not only am I convinced that I should support the U.S. from my country, from any country on earth, really, but you will actually go your whole life being worried and scared that if you don't support the US, your life will get worse." And that's not a threat. That's not me threatening you, right? And that's not me talking out of like fanboy energy, like, "Oh, I'm born in US, so I'm a fan of the US." That's not me talking like a fan. I'm saying for every soul on earth, supporting the US is the strongest thing you can do for most things, right? And with the rare chance that everything's bursting into chaos, obviously, but when everything's going in a general direction, you will be shocked after this call that, yeah, Zerko, it's taken him years to say it fully because it's kind of a headache. I don't want to explain to people why, because if you don't intuitively know why you should support the US, even if the Americans are calling you a piece of shit, you should support them. And not on no cuck. I feel like a cuck. You're more of a cuck if you don't get the rewards of the American empire expanding. There is immense level of, if you want to protect your mother, if you want to protect your father, if you want to protect everyone you love, you want to leap into the future. You want the US to push you into the future because Saudi Arabia will never push you into the future. The only reason your life got easier with the internet is because of the American spirit. Your country did nothing for the world. Your country will never do anything for the world. Every country that's not the USA is harming the world. None of these countries would have ever brought the internet. None of these countries would ever keep you hyper connected to your relatives globally. None of that would happen. It wouldn't, if it was from China, it would look really different, bro. Extremely different. Like, so, oh, you're buddies with Haas and these communists. bro, just because we're buddies doesn't mean I don't laugh at them. Like when I'm around them, I say, hey, why don't you move to China? You know, if you love somewhere, why don't you move there? You know, if you have the goal to talk about a country so high, you'll look really cool if the background is that country. Do you know that? You will look awesome if the background, if you're talking shit about America from a Chinese office in Beijing, for some reason everyone respects you because you're doing your thing. But if you're talking shit about the US as a Chinese guy from an office in New York, you look like the dumbest motherfucker in the universe. Like you look like you're afraid of the CCP. You look like you're terrified of them. That's what it looks. Oh, you're talking good about the CCP, but you wouldn't dare live there. And most of these guys are. It's not because they have kids here. Look at their fucking. Look at this age group that talks shit about the U.S. Are you fucking joking me? It's not because they have friends here. The average dude in New York has like one friend in the city. Like these guys. 80% of the youth, the Zoomers, aren't even going out drinking. Right? Forget the drinking part. They're not going out to any events, so they're just talking shit from their computer screen. And I'm like, dude, you don't know anything about the country you're in. You're talking shit because you chose a shitty job where you're poor. And you talking shit, I've never taken a channel seriously. Like even my buddy Jackson Hinkle, I'm like, bro, anytime he talks shit about the US, he looks like an idiot. Because Jackson Hinkle's, it's like, what's that? You're half a patriot, right? Like if you're gonna talk shit, when Jackson Hinkle's critiquing the US from Russia, when he spends time in Russia, it looks so cool. It looks like, yeah, it feels like a spy, right? Who knows? But it looks cool because it looks like, oh shit, this guy's waking up and eating breakfast over there. He's drinking his morning coffee over there. He's doing everything. It just looks awesome. If you critique US, like people are like, why don't you talk shit about Ryan Dawson for saying this about the US when you guys were on call? You just talked about other stuff and we got into it for other things, a flat earth a couple years ago. And I'm like, it's really hard for me to attack someone if they're in a different country. It's like if you're in Japan and you say "fuck the U.S." I don't like the U.S. It doesn't. I don't. What? How's that offensive? You don't live here. If you don't live in the fucking U.S., if you're not on this side of the globe, how's that offensive? That's like, yeah, you didn't like it, so you got packed up your shit and left. Yeah, you're making a strong case of why it's bad. Actually, you just existing there is making a stronger case than anything that's coming out of your mouth because all of it is cope, right? And most of the time, when you see humans talk about something they hate, it is all cope, you know. Unless it's an injustice, if you have a righteous indignation and some injustice happens in the world, that's a lot different. But usually, if it's just like yappy, what is it, online beef behavior, it's cope. So if you're in Australia, you talk shit about the U.S. I don't. It's not. It doesn't do anything. It's like, all right, you're making a strong case, actually, bro. You're not convincing me, but the whole world should think like this, just so the rules are fair. Because if we don't have any logical rules to the game, then what are we going to start counting the stars on flags and say, oh, mine has more, and this blah blah blah, and each star is a spirit, by the way. Yeah. There's a lot here, but I'm starting this space off by reminding people that actions speak. All right, it's like when people say, "Zherka, you're a racist. You hate. You say America is the only real country on earth, and you're biased." Well, first of all, everyone is biased in their own way. Just delete that part. Arguments I make are objective. Believe it or not, they're so objective that your family, your friends, your religious structures, everything around you is going to crumble when I start speaking about why you should support the white man. Right? Even that argument of I'm black, I can't support him, Zerka. That's cucked. I see where you're coming from. It's just for long term thinking, you're fucking yourself up more. You're becoming more of a slave if you don't support the white. I'll just say it like that. It's like imagine you without internet for the last 20 years. You'd be a monkey. You would have no information to your fingertips. You'd be a literal monkey, right? I'm not talking about just the black guy, Chinese, all of them, because they always love to say, oh, that's racist, right? Humans without the internet for the last 20 years, like you would be like an Amish dude who has like strong karma, perfect peace, but they don't know what the fuck's going on ever, right? They don't know, oh, is it COVID? Is it what the hell's happening? Right? They don't have the internet. They, unless they have a newspaper, I don't know what those niggas do. But yeah, it's like if you're living in these times and you're not using the technology to push your incarnation forward, you're not morally progressing in life with technology. Oh, that sounds tricky. It's clean your feed, bro. It's not that hard. It's hard. It's not that hard, right? I mean, it's hard, but it's doable hard. Anything that's doable hard, it shouldn't be considered hard because like billions are progressing using that. You don't have to use the internet just to fucking downgrade and spiral. Like that's something that happens, and then you come back from it. So we'll start it off like that, right? And today we're gonna cover. This is gonna be quick because I have no hate in my heart for any of these guys. A lot of people are here convinced that I'm like all aboard the hate train. Oh, I started spaces. He's fiery. He's angry. I am not angry at all. All right. And both sides are going to get really angry. Right now, both sides of the war are going to get really angry with me because Zherka's going to give the individuation answer like he always does. That's why that's actually correct. Because I don't want any blackness in my heart like you guys. You guys suck with money. You guys suck with women. You suck with social life and being entertaining and network. Every facet to make life, to access blessings, you guys suck at. And I'm only on earth to tell you how those blessings get unlocked. It's like, dude, this is free. I could easily do this on my website. I'm giving it for free. Okay? Which I got to stop doing that. But I see a lot of, first of all, I kind of instigated it. I said, what did I say? Hold on. I said, what did I say? A few days ago, I said the white wars began because it all started when there was a clip of Nick Fuentes, our boy Nick, right? Like our superstar. He's our Kobe of the right wing. He's Kobe. He does all the points, everything, all the trash talk, all the fucking, he's a bucket machine. He's our Kobe on this side. And Nick started the week off by saying something that I never heard him say before, something that made my head spin because I was like, that's just fucking incredible that he said that. I didn't I noticed it, but not, I even commented about it like ahead of Nick, but I didn't really digest it. He digested it, so he put me into awareness for it. Because I even said, so people are going to be like, no, no, you said it too. Yeah, but I wasn't that conscious when I said it. I was like, he drilled it in me. When I heard it from his point of view, I was like, okay, we have something here. He said, ASU Mog leader guy fucking mogs the fuck out of clavicular. And everyone's talking about it. And Nick is following the whole thing where everyone on earth is following this. It's like Clav got brutally mogged to death, bro. What the fuck? And we're all like, who the fuck is this guy? He's got this new power level. He's got the mysterious shades on. He's beating this is the android saga. Is he an android? Is he a Saiyan? We don't know. Is he like Zherka and Tate and the Saiyans of the red pill? Or is he an android like Clav, made in Dr. Giroux's lab, which brought a huge red ribbon army power level to the game, right? And you see the Saiyan Tate with Clav, they're collaborating, so the androids and the Saiyans are working together, and this one makes no sense. It feels like fan fiction. And you got the fucking Australian, the highest power level that I've been saying he's the highest power level fucking chat on earth. No one wants to believe it. He has the most potential. If you put him in the chamber, in the hyperbolic time chamber, in the spirit of room and time, androgenic would come out as the highest power level. Everyone said, no, Zherka from Kami's Watchtower, you don't get to tell us who beats Clav. It's not who beats Clav because Clav is on his fucking mission. Clav doesn't have time to get stronger. He has to do things in the world. He doesn't even have time to train with weights. He has to just run Anavar till he looks skinny and weak. He doesn't even he has to money max. He has to do so many other things. And he's the highest power level on earth. Don't ever take that away from Clav. Yeah, and I predicted it. I said, look at this. That's the whole market. Clav will be the FM king. And everyone's like, no, 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 this guy puts on makeup. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I don't put on makeup, but I don't dare tell Napoleon not to put up makeup. Napoleon would conquer your ass. Napoleon and those guys. And do you understand that Donald Trump puts on makeup every day and you love him? So don't start with this. Well, makeup is where I draw the line. Just because Zherka doesn't put on makeup, so therefore everything with makeup is gay. Zherka and you are your Super Saiyan auras are stimulated by the Trump, right? Trump's incarnation is powerful to us, and you ignore the fact that Trump puts on makeup every day. And these guys who go on TV, you go on CNN, Fox News, they're gonna put makeup on you. That's just what it is. And everyone says, "I would just say no to the makeup," until you remember JFK versus Nixon. Nixon said, "No, I don't put on makeup. I don't do that." And which is, that's Zerka answer. That sounds very up me and my audience. We have the same kind of temperament. We'd say, no, I don't want to. We'd go with the Nixon argument. And he fucking lost the debate because he was sweating on camera, looking fucking retarded. And what can you do? Are you going to change the climate control in the fucking Fox Tower? No. What are you going to do when fucking the Murdochs are after you? You're done. You're cooked. And JFK wins. Just because JFK put his ego aside and said, man, just fucking dab me up with some of that fucking powder. And it's like nobody even knew he had makeup until like 100 years later. And really, it's more like if that's the reason Nixon lost, Nixon's the biggest fucking, I'd love to go down and say, now fuck, that's some fucking homo ass shit. But then you remember how much Chester maxing humans do for a joke, let alone winning the presidency. And it's like, is the joke Nixon or JFK? Because nobody even talks about Nixon, and he was one of the most based presidents ever, right? He was kind of awesome, but nobody even talks about him. They talk about JFK, and nobody says JFK is a fucking homo, and he's a Democrat. What? He's got that much aura as a Democrat, which back then Democrat was a lot more normal than today. Like, are you kidding me? Come on, use your head. Like back then, we'd all be freedom maxing, right? Anyways, so we'll start this off with where did this white on white violence start? It started with the Mog War. The ASU Mog champion that mogged Clav to death. This is the note, right? Is this right? This is too tough. This was the most brutal mogging we've ever seen, but let's be real. This guy's been training. This guy's doing his push-ups. He's taking his shit. He's doing everything correct. And he started off from a very fat point. So we love to see the progression, right? But Clav wasn't doing his push-up. He's busy being Clav, right? So is it really, it's kind of like Phil Heath got mogged. Yeah, put Phil Heath on a cycle. Let's see who wins then. That's a more fair thing. But whatever, we have to give it to them because that's the rules of, you can't win all the battles. So it broke my heart, man. It broke my fucking spirit. I was like, no. When he got mugged, I was like, no, this is worse than the Holocaust. It made me shake in fear and anxiety, and I burst into like almost like my blood sugar was low, like sweats of nervousness. I was like, how the fuck is this happening to the android? And then the ASU leader took his sunglasses off and showed his power level. Not only is he in the shreds, wide as fuck, wide hardo in the chat, he has glowing blonde hair and deep, icy blue eyes like Hitler's wet dream. And I said, wow, I've never seen a white man on the internet until right now. I cannot believe the internet, because usually when the internet makes a random white kid popular, the kid goes out of his way to like embarrass himself. And it's not like white hate. This is more like You know those guys who are like, yeah, you can sit with my girlfriend, bro, and you know, like those guys we don't even consider white. There's something else. They're like they're Dean Withers white, whatever that is, and we're like, what? You know, he pulls out his cute inhaler. It's so cute when you actually this is the asthma pen. Oh god, that Dean arc was fucking awesome, man. Was that last year? And that guy has to make a comeback right now. But yeah, we see a high ass power level, blonde hair, blue eyed in a Super Saiyan state. We're seeing a Super Saiyan, and he's not going viral for anything stupid or anything. He's just going viral for frame mogging the fuck out of Clap. You know, it's like this is the new episode. And so everyone who's in the know, they go, oh, an Aryan. We always have to, we just like throughout all of history, we have to always give respect to Aryans. Even if they come from strange backgrounds, we know they can be redeemed every single time, right? Unless it's like some Swedish cucks, right? But we don't, I never talk about those guys. I don't give them attention. I'll never bring my audience to fucking follow, you know, maybe PewDiePie. PewDiePie is cool, right? I don't see him as left or right. You know, they like to make him a Nazi. I don't see that. You know, he did say the N word. He's cool. He's cool, right? And he's not a cuck. PewDiePie's not a cuck. He's married. He's like a normal married life. So besides PewDiePie, a lot of Sweden has fallen, right? And make no mistake about that. A lot of people think I'm joking when I say this. I'm not those guys. As much as I love Italians and all that, I don't want the world to be run by Italians. I want them to be at the top, but I do want the Nordic people to always be number one. I want the Germans, the Swedes, and I want to get them normal first, not cucked, right? If we could do that. Like, don't ever forget that Donald Trump is a German incarnation. That's why Donald Trump has more aura than a Nick Fuentes. Even though Nick is a genius, he's at the top. He had dinner with him. But like Nick has it all. He's our Kobe Bryant, but that's Michael Jordan, bro. You know? If only he could be a little fucking anti-Semitic for us. He'd have the whole fucking picture. But even Jordan was an asshole in person, right? That's what everyone said about him. So you can't have it all. And Nick's way more relatable. He's like, I don't know how Trump is not. Trump is like you look forward to aging and growing old, and you think of Trump, right? So he's a great force for young men archetypally. It's like, wow, that looks like a lot of fun. It looked like Trump had more fun in the later years than when he was young, actually. You know what I mean by that? So he's great. So like if you see Trump as a superficial oversoul for Zherka, for Nick Fuentes, for even Sneeko when he was cool. Yeah, he was, right? He was the oversoul. We aligned to that, and the top dog, you can't go above him. You can say you mock Trump, but no one mocks Trump. What are you, fucking retarded? That's not how this works. You're a fucking joke. No human can do that. That's why we align under the eagle that is Trump, right? And then Sneeko starts being all fucking, I don't like the worms here. I don't like the nest. I don't like, then get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. So it's great. It's beautiful. America's flourishing. 2026 is the best it's ever been. And Nick says a comment that I said earlier, but for me, it didn't resonate. I just said it, I was just trolling on Twitter and, I thought it was cool. But then when he said, I'm like, oh, it is a thing. I have not noticed that. Nick said, what I like about the ASU MOG championship battles is it's androgenic, ASU Mogger and Clav. It's white guys. And that shit blew me away because I've said it before. I just didn't digest it. But when Nick said, I'm like, holy shit, that's why it's so awesome. How much fucking black creators are they going to force feed down our throats? And by force feed, I mean 90% of black streamers on Twitch that suck, that everyone agrees these guys suck. This is not a racial thing. I'm saying the ones you would agree that you don't watch, they only got popular because they're the channels that can say nigga. So the chats have more fun in those streams. That's the fucking truth, right? That is literally the truth. Ask, bro. I'm telling you, if white guys said nigga on Twitch, their channels would explode, right? But white guys have to find a different way to be funny on Twitch. It's like brutal to watch. Like, have you ever seen XUC trying to talk around the nigga word? And he's trying to, he can't do it. And it's just brutal. I feel bad. He's so cocked. Like XUC's so cocked on freedom of speech, right? So when Nick said ASU white guy, Clav, androgenic, it's a whole white fiesta, right? It sounds like I'm not calling him a Mexican. I'm saying it's a fiesta, like it's a party. Nick didn't say fiesta, by the way. I'm saying that. But yeah, when he said that, I said to myself, man, we went from all the Chinese and Asian YouTuber saga, which was so cringe. It was so like, what the fuck was that? Then it was the Logan Paul era and stuff, which I never followed because it felt just like liberal. It felt way too liberal that I couldn't. I for 6 years I didn't even use YouTube. I just partied downtown. I was just hyper normie, or not a daytime normie. I was underworld normie, so I didn't relate to daytime people at all. I don't, that's why I have like an aversion to normies, like just throwing frisbee at a party. I don't get those people at all. Maybe I envy that too, that I didn't get that part of my life, like the frisbee at the park, or maybe it's just a faggot thing to do, frisbee, right? Or a little volleyball. And I guess I got to live those years with Mike, but yeah, we're seeing white on white crime, and it's like the whole internet is raging over it. And I'm like, all we have to do is support these white channels because they're not even trying, and they have better fucking clicks and better content than everyone else combined. And it's not because Kai and the Black Stream, like, Speed's the king of entertainment. No one can take that from Speed. But all the other black guys are really like corny, and just it just feels like their mom raised them to talk like that. It's just they force us to listen to their streamer rap songs. And I always, even when I meet these guys, I say, "Hey man, keep doing that music thing." But deep down in my heart, it hurts because I go, even if he pops off, even if his music's number one on the charts, I'll always cringe to it. Like if a streamer makes a song, it's heavily cringe. I love watching cringe with my audience, but there's levels of cringe where I don't ever mention it because I can't even click on that shit. And bro, ask anyone. I love making a room cringe. I love making content cringe. I love doing cringe on purpose. But when it's at a high ass power level, like there's a couple streamers that like I don't know much about DDG. I'm sure he's had like a couple good songs, a bit of success there. So I'm not talking about him. But I could see that. I could see that most of his playlist would be like make me cringe the fuck out. I could just see it in my head. So I avoid all that. I avoid it like the plague. I feel like I get enough slop. Listen, like Pooh Shiesty and all this. I don't need to add the streamers to the fucking tracks. Also, it feels cucked. Like if you listen to a streamer's music, you're listening to someone who has not mastered music. They mastered streaming. So why would you if you're going to listen to at least Drake, as gay as he is, has a mastery over it. Mastery will always benefit you. It's like watching a swordsman channel on YouTube. You're going to watch the random dude with a sword or the master. Are you fucking stupid? Right? You're trying to connect to the oversoul of that swordsman. You're trying to do something when you're learning, fencing or whatever. So yeah, when Nick said this ASU guy, Clav, all this is white content, I said, holy shit, yeah, because where do you find white content? Really, it's offline. It's like with your white buddies. You have a couple beers, you go to the golf course, you do like white people shit, and it's fun, it's awesome, it's racist, it's hilarious. And it's never hateful for some reason. Like if you're in with a group of a bunch of white racist right winger guys, and the black right winger guy says, "Hey, can I come?" Everyone says, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, come, come, come." None of them say, "Don't come to the black guy." It's never happened once. Not even at a Nick Fuentes rally. Never. It's never happened unless they betray us, and then we fucking light their shit up, right? But that's for betrayal. That's not for anything else, right? So and that hurts us too because people be like, "Oh, there's a black guy, there's a brown guy on your team, Zherka," and stuff like that. And I'm like, that makes us look crazy. Oh, it's a white identity movement, but there's other colors, and it's like we'll take looking crazy to be inclusive because we're fighting for something beyond us, beyond even whiteness, actually, right? Because whiteness is not a color thing, And Nick can't explain it because he doesn't really understand. Whiteness transcends Earth evolution, meaning it's third turn for the impulse. It's not like in ancient Indian times with all those big Indian temples when they were fucking, how did they build these? Right? When we're talking about 2026, ask yourself who brought you the internet? Who made your life that easy with the internet? Who? Ask yourself, who made it so you don't ever have to work hard in life? Money just floats into your pocket. If it's the white man, then being nationalistic for your country is actually, as cool as it makes you feel, it's bringing you technological advancements into your life slower. So all your problems you have don't go away for the next 10 years, right? So that's why even if America closed its borders and said it wants to be a white only nation, in 50 years, you guys would all be shocked at the level of internet we'd be at. When white people are left alone, do you think they go around? What do you think they do? You've been told by some leftist professors that they'll come conquer you, but they won't give a fuck about you, bro. They will build they'll build starships to take you into the green screen, my nigga. I don't actually believe it's a green screen, but you get the joke. And if you can sit down in an argument and look me in the eye and say, these 20 years of my life, I would have traded with no internet, Zherka, no .com boom. I would go back, do my life without the internet, just go for runs and be normal guy. And you'd probably have way less nervous disorders too doing that, right? You'd be like an Amish guy. But none of you would take it. If you saw the white man handing you the gate of the next 20 years of internet, you would take the gate every single time. Even if the white man said this is going to harm your country a bit, we're going to tax your country, we're going to, your country is never going to be powerful. The US is just going to keep their boot on every country on earth and everyone has to play ball. You don't want to fuck with us unless you're primitive. If you're primitive enough to fuck with us, right, then you're going to get bombed to smithereens. And it's like, it's not just a lose-lose situation. It's a win infinitely more when white people are building Atlantis back up. But distract the white man, and you think a Saudi, you think a Chinese guy, you think any of them are going to give you a system that improves your life? You think an African guy will give you a system that improves your life? Your mom has cancer. You think an African guy, a Chinese guy gives a fuck about your mom being sick? Are you fucking retarded? Do you Religion is not a color thing. We're not even there yet, me boy. I'm telling you right now. You can play ball with Asians, you can play ball with Arabs, you can do all that. None of them have ever helped anyone globally. You look at any of these nations, they help themselves when they get into power. But you look at the spirit of an American, when he's in power, what does he do? Like, are you fucking kidding me? If you understood that in ancient times, it was ancient India at the top. Yeah, look into it. The biggest temples, the biggest whatever. You look at everyone had their turn. Now that it's the European turns, the Germanic, American, 70% of American DNA is German. Everything for the free world America has done, you are spitting on by saying, actually, Hungary did. Actually, Albania did. What are you talking about, man? You have to look at the fact. I am an Albanian telling you that American must lead. You should be a Chinese guy saying, I don't want the CCP. I want China to be liberated by the US. Or do you want to live under fuck it? What do they got? The surveillance state going on over there? They got drones to your window to see how many times a day you're taking a shit? That's what you're fighting for? Like, what are you talking about? I'm a progressive in the sense that I travel the world. I go to every country. I try every food. I've been everywhere. And I always leave with the biggest smile on my face. Like it's almost like I want to live there because I'm having so much fun. in every country. Even butt fuck nowhere, I can find fun anywhere. I am the fun. But man, do I feel good when I go back under the American flag and I go, these countries are not developing. They're lying to themselves. You think Americans steal, the politicians in America steal? You should go to other countries and see their bridges, man. Right? Well, look at Chinese bridges. All it takes is for your freedom to be taken away from you. We get LEDs on our bridge in China, so long as we take your freedom, the freedom from the people, right? It's like we're anti-freedom impulse, and I hate when people argue. How are you? This is Haas. How are you free in the U.S.? It's like, dude, if you ever have to argue that you feel terrified to walk around the streets of China because the government might fucking cloth you, put a cloth to you. Come on, man. Well, US does that too. And dude, you got to do a bunch of shit before you can start being afraid in the US, bro. And the people who kill you in the US, it's Jews. It's always American Zionist Jews. It's not even Americans. So it's like, if you get, oh, CIA got me. The CIA didn't get you. Mossad did, right? CIA will leave you the fuck alone. CIA is doing other things, right? Usually for petty stuff like the Charlie Kirk thing, right? Which everyone's going to start the fiery debate. Well, Nick doesn't think that Charlie Kirk is assassination has anything to do with Israel. Dude, that's his opinion. Like, are you a man or are you a faggot? If you disagree with someone's opinion, say, I disagree. Like, how do you go online and say, like, if he's giving you his reasons and they're not flat, he's actually just putting in 8 to 10, 15 minutes in building up an argument. You can say you don't like Nick's argument. You can say that, but you can't say he avoided the topic or anything. That's his opinion. My opinion's different. Yours is going to be different. It's like Christology. When Catholic channels attack Nick, a lot of them do at the same time. Why don't we support those Catholic channels? Because their Christology is different from Nick's. Nick says, don't be a cuck. They say, your wife has to run the show and oh, I'm just a little good little bitch. So every human's Christology is different. That's why every human has different levels of consciousness. Even if you get a Malcolm X supporter next to Malcolm X, they're going to sound a little different. If they speak more, they might sound medium or even a lot different, even if they're working right under Malcolm X. That's why Zherka's Christology will sound different from Nick's, even though they're going the same way. Right? That's why the Catholic Nick versus the Catholic channel that says Nick is demonic. That's why they argue. That's why humans always they're filled with, well, no, we're not exactly the same. We're not supposed to be exactly the same, right? Unless we're talking about on the level of freedom, the impulse of freedom, which only America is bringing. And a lot of people are like, well, you went to America for a week and you popped the fuck off and now you're retired for life, so that's why you're saying that. Okay, then why on my fucking Twitch channel before I even mega popped off, why was I saying the same shit before I popped off? Even day one with 0 followers, I was saying the same shit. Now that could be a dangerous position where it's like, well, you just kind of nailed it on your head. No, there's a consistent theme here. Like, we all agree we don't want to live in China or Saudi Arabia, but as soon as we're in America, you got that free speech thing, you just talk shit about America all day. Like, Sneeko is snaking the city that made him, New York. Like, what do you do? That's where his content started. We only know Sneeko from the New York content, and he's snaking with this Mundani energy. Nobody does it. Nobody says a thing. It's mind blowing. So it is Tuesday, February 24th, and we're going to get into the broadcast. Okay, beautiful day, big, beautiful Brazil. And before I get into very political, I do every fucking stream I have to remind you guys, because I see you guys very once in a blue for these. I'm not that consistent with these, but you got to see the world, man. And it'll make you love America more, even if you're having fun. You'll always miss it, but you won't always miss the world. You'll only have fun on vacations, and then you'll go back to, getting shit done. So I do want you guys to be progressive globalists in travel, Max, but I don't want you guys to actually adopt any of their positions. If you go to Italy, Germany, France, and you adopt their political positions, you are a fucking faggot cuck, liberal, blue pill faggot. And by the way, that's not cool, right? That's a, you can be in the middle like Clav, and that's totally fine. We won't attack you politically. But if you're blue pill and you're doing it because, like Marlon went from like talking shit and making racist jokes and banging 14-year-old, 16-year-old girls, he was making all the pedo jokes, watching my content. You guys send me those clips, and now he's like, I'm reformed because I'm blue pill and I'm going for the money. And it's like, all right, do your thing, but we don't have to respect that. You're not going to force us to respect that. So it's like blue pill is where we draw the line. And who's the most blue pill on the internet? What we avoided this for like a long time, but it is Sneeko, dude. Like, you know how many emails I get saying, Zherka, everything about you is consistent except the fact that you hang out with Sneeko. I'm like, I hung out with him when he was red pill. Okay, like just look at the track record. As soon as he goes to Mandani, I said this guy's a homosexual, right? It's like perfect timing. It's what do you? I am fully consistent, and you got to remember when Sneako's red pill, we felt it. It didn't feel fake. Like you could call it fake later, but in the time, it's like he convinces himself he actually believes it, right? And I remember even having a call with Sneeko, and I said, "Hey, man, whatever gets your channel back, even if you have to leave the red pill." Because I was thinking he was going to commit suicide. He was like in a bad place. I always go to the worst in my head, and I don't think I would have said it for Nick, but for Sneeko, I would have been like, maybe this guy would jump. Just get his YouTube channel back. Don't even talk shit about Sneeko. Let him get his YouTube channel back. Just let him get his YouTube channel back. Give him some emotional support because he loves that channel. It's not like me. He really loves his channel. His whole life went into that channel. If you lose that life, you're going to take your own life. You always think of the worst thing. So I'm like, hey man, it's not a big deal. Avoid all the red pill content. Avoid all the evil shit. Just make art. And he's like, okay, I'm going to do that. And he starts making art. He gets unbanned, right? And it's a beautiful thing. And then I'm like, wow, this is his chance to shine. He's going to stay in the middle, just like the strongest incarnations. He's too old to be one-sided in his thinking. He's too old to be. He should be more in the middle, right? He should be more fair. But man, the next 6 months of his content was just straight up leftist slop over slop. It was the most blue pill. I had people in my real life say, "Is that the same guy?" And I'm like, okay, he got his channel back, but why is he going way more blue now that he got the channel back? Is it because he's appeasing the overlords? No, not really. You can calm down after a couple of months. They're not going to ban me. You can calm down. And then you start to see his inner nature is not there. He's just surrounded by green flag and blue pill people. It's just like Muslims around him. And it's like, oh, Sneeko is like chameleon. He's absorbing that. It's not Sneeko we hate, it's the people around him. Ooh, shit, they're always going to be there, because he only feels safe around them, right? He feels naked with any other oversoul. He needs that green flag over his head. And I'm like, that's fine as long as he becomes like Malcolm X, which he went the other way. I was like, he's going the other. Malcolm X was not a slave to Arabs. He's Black Power. He was the cool kind of left, or whatever you consider that nowadays, right? He's more of a black nationalist or whatever. So I thought he was going that direction, and then he just gets worse and worse, and the clips get worse. And it starts from slow critiquing to like this guy is so lost that I could see him join ISIS. If one more girl breaks Sneeko's heart, he's gonna join ISIS. He's gonna be one of those gingers. Those gingers who join ISIS? Sneeko is spiritually ginger. No, we love ginger people. Close your eyes and imagine a ginger person ever snaking you in your life. Guy, girl, it's very rare actually. It's like they know they have no soul, so they act normal. They're like, hey, can I be friends with you? I have no soul. I want to hide my evil power level from the world. Anyways, and it's about food and happiness, man. But first comes peace, and you can't have peace without war. That's the truth. You can't have peace without war, man. And I'm the guy who says you have to be in war even if you don't want to be in war. Okay? And when you're not at war, what do you start doing? You start attacking yourself. That's why everyone who's not at war is they're in their room depressed as fuck. And I'm fucking losing it. Bro, this place has cops, man. This place is dirty. All right, let's get into it. So I'm super pumped that Nick started off this week. He says ASU, all this Mog drama, all these Mog battles, these Mog wars. This is, I like that it's white people doing it. I'm like, yo, that is so cool. That is, Speed, the black guys, Kai, they have their thing. Like, we don't want that to disappear. The internet would actually be a lot more boring without Speed. An occasional Speed clip is like, it's the cherry on top, it makes the feed better. And it's so weird because everyone just shits on Speed in the comments. Like, everyone's racist. Everyone, I'm like, if there's one person the whole world should be like, oh, he's doing his job, that's Speed. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Kai is a different story, right? Kai can be he can be bought. But yeah, when Nick said that, I was like, okay, that's cool, And I see the Albanian flag on the ASU Mogger. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, And that doesn't shock me. Like, everyone's like, are you shocked by that? I'm like, not really, because I've been around Albanians my whole life growing up, and most of them are blonde hair, blue eyes. Not in back home. I'm saying around me. My dad has green eyes. You just look at the photos I post. My older brother has green eyes, like beaming green, and that's why when I watch Nick, he has green eyes. It feels like, as I'm like the growing up in my family, it felt normal to watch Nick. Also, when he gets like angry, it's like identical to us, right? When we get angry, although my whole family would say I'm the only black sheep. Nick's also the black sheep, so we're like the Hitler guys. We're like all the way to the right. So yeah, Nick was like, it was personal when I was watching Nick, and he was battling my worst enemy, Hassan Piker, at the time when I was banned first before Nick. So to me, Nick is like within my mountain. We're attacking the same shit. And then Nick makes a clip against Albanian people. For the first time in his life, he says something about, hey man, no one in the Balkans, no Croatians, no Albanians, none of these guys get to tell us how to run America. And I was like, what? Nick's power level is so fucking high right now. Someone has to respond. And all the Albanians tag me and they're like, Zherka, now's your chance. Nick betrayed us. And I'm like, wait, hold your fire. This man isn't black. What the fuck? They're right. He has green. Nick has green eyes. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Everyone calmed down. And they're like, but he betrayed the Albanians, Zherka. And I'm like, hold on. Wait a minute. Do you really think, as an Albanian, you get to tell an American how to run his country, you fucking faggot? What the fuck? Zherka, how could you? You broke my heart. Bro, I should put my dad on one of these calls, man. Because my dad for years would be like, dude, you've been saying the same thing for 10 years. Let the Germans run America. Let Trump, the German, run America. If it's not Trump, our second in charge is Nick Fuentes. And he's been getting blurry. He's off the lean. He's doing other shit. We need Nick right now. He's further right than Trump. And by further right, I mean Nick Fuentes does not want America to become a Muslim country. He doesn't want immigration to turn the fucking streets of every international city into a bloodbath. That is the hero of the story. You should be supporting him because if you live in LA and your skin is brown, you're going to enter a race war without Nick. It's everything you've been told. Oh, Nick is going to start the race war. It's the other way around. They're going to import a bunch of immigrants and everyone's going to lose their mind and everyone's gonna be like, yo, we can't coexist. Look at even in the Balkans how much they kill each other because they can't coexist, right? Now think of America being like that with all the guns in America. You're in danger if you don't support Nick. In 10 years, you are in danger. It's the other way around. But that means more racism is making the world more safe. You know, in a strange way, anything that stops mass immigration into America is making an American more safe. That's the truth. That's the truth. And remember, if U.S. explodes into chaos, the whole world immediately follows. So it's not like you're just safe because you're in a different country. So that's like another big reason why you should calm the fuck down. Your life's gonna be better if you listen to me. And people are like, "Well, what the fuck, bro? But Nick said Albanians they're not really white." And listen, man, Nick is a Mexican. Mexicans love Dragon Ball. 50% of the crime rate in the US, excuse me, in Mexico, 50% of the crime rate in Mexico goes down when there's a new Dragon Ball episode, new Dragon Ball Super episode, even Z back in the day. The 50% of the look at the studies, I'm not making shit up. 50% of the crime goes down because the whole of Mexico is watching Dragon Ball with the cartel. Look at you think this is like, oh, he's being funny. Google what I'm saying right now. Google it. You're gonna see no country on earth likes Dragon Ball more than Mexico, and they even make arguments that they love it more than Japan. And Japanese get angry, they get racist with that. And who really knows? But there's more data. There's more data. Or people say, well, US spends the most money on Dragon Ball merch and intellectual property and all that. So US is number one. You can make a money argument, but I'm talking about saving souls, saving lives. Mexicans stop killing each other when a new fucking Jiren and Goku are fighting in between the stars with Frieza's talking. They're making a new Dragon Ball series. You're telling me that the country Mexico that loves Dragon Ball the most, we're gonna hate their people because a Mexican said that Albanians are not white? You fucking joking me? Are you fucking? We will never turn on Mexico. And personally speaking, anecdotally speaking, be honest. Let's everyone just be honest. When has a Mexican even done anything to you? You know? When has a Mexican even done anything to you, like piss you off or anything? Never once in your life. Like, what do you? We're talking about blacks, bro. Blacks can do shit to you. Like they're not. A lot of them are unconscious. It sounds racist until you get a black guy to walk down the streets of Chicago, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck? What the fuck? These guys with the dreads are very unconscious compared to me, and black guys will notice black guys who are more conscious, more aware, and they want to take them down. Have you ever noticed that phenomenon? It happens with all the races too. Like even Albanians will say that about each other. Spaniards will say that about each other. Every race says that about each other. But really look into the blacks, bro. Right? If you're around a deeply unconscious Albanian, all you have to do is not disrespect them, and they won't blast you with a gun. They won't murder you in front of your kids. And this is not, a lot of Albanians are like, why would you say that? That makes us look bad. I'm just saying to keep people alive on Earth. That's why I said, Sneeko, don't disrespect those. There are some people who can turn off their level of consciousness, and Albanians seem to have that superpower where they can say, you know what, I'm gonna go unconscious for 10 minutes and just shoot this guy up in front of his whole fucking family because he disrespected me on the road. Like Albanians have that fucking nigger switch. Like that trend alone switch. So I'm saying that to save lives. But most Albanians are nice guys, let's be real. And they have that switch. You never know what you got. It's like a raffle. But black guys don't have the switch. They're just holding on to the switch, if you know what I mean. Like bro, a black guy with dreadlocks is nothing like an Albanian. There's this level of unconscious is all day. When they're coming into consciousness, they drink lean and do drugs to go down levels so to stay within the sin. I'm not talking about all black guys. I'm saying the ones that are gonna kill and murder you, stab you in the back, in the heart. So that's the ones I'm talking about, right? And do I think Nick is a white guy? Of course I do, right? He has green eyes, brown hair, white skin. He has that Italian kind of look. A lot of people say, "Oh, this is too swarthy. This is." He looks kind of Italian to me. He doesn't look like a Mexican to me. I'm not going to call him a Mexican if he doesn't look like at all anything like a Mexican. Like, what are you talking? His experience on Earth was a white experience, wouldn't you? I guess that's not enough because the ASU Mauger, by Hitler's terms, yeah, that's a tough one because the ASU Mauger is 100% white DNA. But Nick is more base than him. So how are we gonna weigh this? Like, and remember, Nick is at higher levels of consciousness and intelligence too, right? Not just because he's older, but Nick, as much as people hate to admit it, he is a genius, right? And a genius is someone who has mastery. Even people who have mastery don't have mastery. I'm talking about Nick's mastery allowed him to sit with Kanye and Trump at a table and push Nick's own agenda to them. That's that's a powerful ass incarnation. You could call him short. You could call him, well, he's not a ladies guy. Dude, he is. What is a ladies guy even anyway? Like, what are you talking? That's Trump, and yay, he's at the top, and he's not talking about what they want to talk about. He's talking about what he wants to talk about. Like, that's the full earthly experience. A human can die after that, and it's like you kind of that's a Kobe experience. He's dunking on you. That's awesome, and no one talks about like where he started off from, the cozy TV, even before that, the D Live. So is the ASU Mauger on Nick's level intellectually? No, right? So that has to lose Mog points there, but these guys are looks maxers. They only go by looks. And by looks, this guy has Nick beat because Nick will not take the peptides and all the extra stuff. He's against all that. And then the Mauger says, I don't care, I ascend. He turns into a Super Saiyan. And Nick, who has green eyes, for the first time in a clip, I see him, not first time, maybe second time, but for the second time, I see Nick a little rattled. I can't remember the last time he was rattled, but it bothered me. I'm like, you shouldn't be rattled about this, right? This shouldn't be, his power level's high. He's a Super Saiyan 1. This can be beat. And I'm like, Nick, you have green eyes. If you have green eyes, how are you getting insecure that someone has blue eyes? Technically, on the charts, I wouldn't call Nick, second in command because he has green eyes. Green eyes is even more rare. It's maybe not Hitler's standard, but I would group them in the same category. Like growing up, I remember as a baby, I would look into my father's green eyes. I would look into my older brother's green eyes, and these were the archetypal energies I wanted to be like. These are the oldest guys in my life, or the ones I cared about. So I could feel their level of morality, and it was just so much stronger than everyone else's. It's not always the case, but usually most of the time it's the case. Maybe there could be freak, oh, what about this murderer who killed a bunch of people? He had blue eyes. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying most of the time, right? Just like let's go off the real world. And there's such a freedom impulse with these lighter colored eyed people. They're more spiritually bound to earth, but they're not spiritual people. Like, my dad's very atheist. He doesn't, he's more focused into the mission, the politics. Same with Nick. Nick is not a spiritual guy. He's more into the politics, but you can't say Nick is not spiritually charged. Are you fucking retarded? So I see these guys and I'm like, there's no way Nick feels rattled because a blue-eyed, blonde-haired Super Saiyan Aryan enters the map. And then I see, oh, Nick has changed his mind about the ASU guy. He's not happy about the white race advancing on social media anymore because he has an Albanian flag, which immediately strikes fear. Remember, throughout history, Albanians are Catholic, and then horrible things happen to them, just like the rest of the world, right? Or imagine even worse as China went full atheist. And so Nick played a strategic position where he said, wait a minute, the chances of this Albanian being a Muslim, they're high. That's not like a real Muslim. It's like an Albanian Muslim. That's like an Indonesian Muslim. They're not even that hardcore. They're just such chill people. No, I'm not taking that chance. You are not white. You are not white. And it was genius how Nick played that card. He's like, you are not white. And then he got a little insecure. You see Nick rattled in the clip. He goes, if you weren't white, skinned with blue eyes and blonde hair, you'd be black like Seiko. I was like, what the fuck? First of all, that's hilarious because you could tell Nick doesn't mean it. He's just rattled. The power level is like, oh, it's We don't see a white guy on the internet that often, right? We see a lot of darker complexion white guys, or maybe like a swarthy look. I don't know if swarthy is a bad word. I don't even know what this word means, to be honest. But I'm saying not that non-Nordic look, that more whatever. We see that. But there's very few PewDiePies and stuff like that that we could look up to. So in the past, there was a lot, but they're suppressed now. They try and cuck those guys first now. They try and make them cucks. And so Nick is like, it's tongue in cheek. He's joking around, right? Because Nick knows on paper, on Hitlerian paper, he lost to the ASU guy because of that 25%. What is it? 25% Mexican DNA, which I don't even know why. Like Nick has balls for saying it out loud, but if his experience, like you look at Nick, it's not a Mexican guy. Why would you? Why are we even focusing on that 25%? That shouldn't be a factor. Like, come on. But if we're gonna be perfect on paper, like, yeah, the Albanian guy will be more white than Nick, but it's an Albanian white, right? There's levels to whiteness. Like the highest level whiteness is Germanic, which is even higher than I love the Italians because, bro, before Italy was this cucked liberal shit, Italy was the world, right? Before you used to go to Italy and you'd be like, wow, they're so far advanced. Now it feels like more cucky, more communist. They're smoking their cigarettes. They're chilling the fuck out. And you're like, where's the energy on earth? And it's that Germanic American energy with a bit of that Catholic Italian vibe in the New York. New York was so beautiful back then, the mafia days. It's like, what happened to that? And then people are like, first of all, mafia is gay. But I'm saying that those times when New York was white, the only energy you'd get, that New York energy, is, believe it or not, from a Chicago kid named Nick. Like if you watch Nick, he sounds like a New Yorker. He's from the good old days. That's why everyone watches him. It's like an American that's Catholic is always the highest power level in the U.S. You could say, well, it's a Protestant nation, so it's always, Zherka, Protestants love you to death, and Zherka, you even sound more Protestant a lot of the times because you're more of a freedom guy. It's like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but if Americans don't evolve into Catholics, dude, that is the next step. Believe it or not, if they don't do that, then you're gonna be you're gonna rely on what, the ortho bros? Like they're the lowest levels of powers on earth from all Christians is these Orthodox or these fucking gay Protestants, or there's like one base Protestant left in each state, and we got to focus on them. It's like, no, bro, right? But you look into the Catholic tribe, and not only is it fucking massive, but there's room to evolve there. Which with the other ones is like, what the highest level of ortho bro is Jay Dyer, and I like his Christology, I like his channel, I have nothing against Dyer, but it's also like, is that where we're peaking at? You're good at debates, and is that it? You know? And then you look at someone like Nick, he could topple America. The Catholic power level is so much fucking higher. But is Nick more white than the ASU guy on paper? No, he's not. What the fuck? He's not. It's green eyes versus blue eyes, but it's blonde hair. It's Hitlerian, dude. And Hitler loved Albanians, man. Read the manifestos. And I always wondered this growing up. I'm like, do Albanians just have strong karma? Because they're the only ones in the Balkans that have celebrities and good-looking people. And like, I look at my family, and I'm a million times better looking than you guys. All of you listening. So how the fuck is my distant uncles are better looking than you? My grandfather, like we are the highest level of symmetry, beauty, proportions, comedy, all that. Like we're niggas, bro. We are niggas. And then I look at your guys' family pictures, the guys on Twitter, the guys I'm talking about. It's like cute family, but I don't know if all five of your family members are Hollywood looking. I don't know if they're. I don't know. I just don't get that energy from you guys. Like none. There's not one person I follow on Twitter where it's like, you look at your moms, look at your dads. It's like they're cute. They're cute. They're on our side. They're right wing, I'm sure, and all that. But it's just, come on, bro. It's like your bloodline's doing something wrong if it's coming out medium looks, or maybe just, well, I get this a lot. I'm the best looking in my family, bro. And it's like, no, unless 10 of your family members are good looking, you have a bad bloodline. What do you mean one? Everyone has one person in the family that can fucking represent. Like you need 10 in a row, immediate, not distant family, immediate. You got to show the blood, and they all have to be over 6'3" minimum. What the fuck is this? The everything in the mogging Olympics is there except the height. Nobody cares about height. They're like, we're going for width. No, no, you niggas gotta grow. If Clav sees you, he's gonna put those fucking shoe boosters on you. And look, that's aura when you're in public, but imagine if we saw you put those things on, your little high heels. Like everyone would be like, what the fuck? And yeah, people are like, should I fraud it if I get the girl? It's like, that would benefit you. In the long term, frauding it might make you feel like weak. But in the short term, I'm all about winning over the girl because very few souls ever do that. They actually, most people listening go their whole lives never getting the girl they actually wanted. And so I'm like, if you have to cheat to get her, this is a Zherka channel. Like, do you really think you think I'm gonna give you like the good advice? Like, no, you have to win. If you have to use peptides, whatever you have to use to get her, you have to do that just so you can experience that feeling of I'm better than her. I got her. I'm bored of it. You have to go there. You can't sit there wondering your whole life. You can't, like Nick had this clip a long time ago where he said, imagine being a good looking TikTok person. The whole world is eating from the palm of your hands. That's just might be the best way to live life on earth, like the easiest incarnation. I'm like, dude, you can't just say that out loud. You have to be it. Nick is at least being it when he's a famous guy. Women DM him. You guys have to do that too in your own ways. You have to have some kind of superstar energy into the world of individuation. You have to be an individual, right? And you have to experience that the whole world fucking with you energy. You can't just watch your leader and then you do nothing about it. That's why people are like, why is Nick the highest level white pill on earth? He's not black pill. It's because he's telling you individuate or die in a video game. Nick Clive is, he's really he's walking with spirit there. Extreme measures, yeah. But is Nick Fuentes more white than ASU Malger guy? Someone send me the name. I heard the name 3 times, but if I say it wrong, it's like I'm butchering it, and I will never butcher an Albanian's name, bro. Are you kidding me? First of all, did I grow up around a lot of blonde? Dude, there are Victoria's Secret models with blonde hair and blue eyes that look like some of I call them cousins, but I'm not related to them, but they're in my life. They're Albanian women, and it's shocking how Albanians come out in a lot of flavors, right? And there's a lot of fame, just sort of famous Albanians. You'd be like, whoa, they all kind of look different, but you can see the energy. Like they all have this I'm better than you energy. Like you could, and it's kind of annoying too. Like the Dua Lipa, she got that cocky energy about her. It's just like, I'm not a fan of her, I was forced to go to one of the concerts by my family, but I just remember thinking, I'm like, she's not my type. But Jackson Hinkle would always nudge me and be like, she's the hottest girl on earth, man. She's the hottest white girl on earth. I'm like, Jackson, you're white. She's not white. She's Albanian. And he'd be like, what? She's Albanian? Well, I mean, she looks like a white girl. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? There are levels to whiteness. There's regular white, then there's higher level white, right? A higher level white is there's dark white, there's higher level white where it's dark white, but they don't steal or kill. And then there's Nordic. Nordic is like top tier. And everyone's like, dude, you smash so many Nordic bitches and blonde hair and blue-eyed women, and you smash, why don't you get married and have kids with them? And it's like, dude, an incarnation like mine will never have kids. Get over it, bro. That's your job. Your job is to, first of all, you have to pair the blonde hair, blue eyed people and make them have kids before they go extinct. That is the earth's job because they have spiritual gifts for the world. That's why a lot of blue eyed people brought huge blessings to the world. Like, look at the top inventors in the world. You'll be shocked, right? And some people are like, well, that's because there's more people on earth that are that. Shut the fuck up, bro. Shut the fuck up with the cope, right? But is Nick on paper more white than ASU Malger? If he even went to ASU. I don't even know if he did. Well, Nick played the ultimate trap card on him, right? As Nick was kind of conceding, Nick will never concede, but you can see his energy level. He'll just start joking around. He'll just be like, "Oh, I don't know if I. Well, if you weren't white skin and blonde hair and blue eyed, you'd be looking black." And I'm like, "Ooh." First of all, you can't say that because then all the blonde hair, blue eyed guys in chat that are from that region are going to be like, I don't know if I trust Nick. And no, you're supposed to trust Nick. Even if he's pissing you off, you're supposed to be on his team, right? Trust me, he'll take us to the promised land, right? Even if he gets some things wrong, he's doing the macro job, right? He might miss the micronutrients, but he's hitting the macros, right? And it's like, I'm not gonna lie. When I sat next to Nick, I did feel like a white guy, and I did feel like he had like that. I wanted to give him a sombrero. I felt like he's Mexican and give him the cha-chas and all that. I felt this Mexican. You know, how Mexicans are just super polite. When he was sitting next to me, I was just like, "Oh, this guy's like a little Mexican." That's a joke. When I was sitting next to Nick on Fresh and Fit, I turned to him to look at him just to see, because I'm not gonna lie, there's something racist about me that when the whole chat's spamming, you're 25% Mexican, right? I'm not racist, but I did look at Nick to see closely. It's like, is there anything Mexican that'll pop up? And I scanned, and it was mean. It was a little evil, but you got to do that. You got to, even if you trust the guy, you got to do that, right? Just to see, you don't want him to start talking to you about enchiladas and shit. I looked at him and I'm like, no, I don't see any Mexican, and that's not comedy. That's like, I'm telling you what it is. None of you sitting with Nick would get any Mexican vibes from him. 0%. Is it funny that he's leading the movement and he's got 25%? No, it's not even funny. It would be funny if he looked like a bit of a Mexican. That would be fucking hilarious and hypocritical. And people are like, no, it's what you see on paper. And it's like, no, it's actually the person bringing the results. Even if it's Myron, it's someone bringing the results, right? Myron's not a white guy, but he's helping us, right? It's about help. It's about entering a new world. Because let me tell you this, man, your world about immigrants and black guys is throwing snowballs into police officers' faces. It's getting really dark, bro. And these guys who say, "Oh, what about the food? What about the food that immigrants bring?" It's like, what did Nick? Excuse me, Richard said this. Richard Spencer once said, "We have the recipes. We don't even want their food. We eat hamburgers. We eat cheeseburgers. We don't eat fucking dumplings and shit." All right. And by the way, Slavic people are not white because the whole of it. And let me go in on this because I'm not calling you not white by DNA. That's like how when Nick Fuentes says Slavic people are not white, you can see Nick coping there. You can see him being insecure about answering that, and he has to lie. So the one time he has to, but I know why he's doing it. I get it, you know. And and I'm not pro-Slavic. I'm an Albanian first of all, so I'm not going that way in this at all. But I'll tell you this because I don't think Nick can explain it well here because he's like he doesn't even want to have the conversation. But when Nick says Slavic people are not white, he's actually correct because the whole of internet culture, and I'm not saying this just because I don't like Slav. I'll get to that after, right? I'm trying to be objective here, right? Because like I meet a Russian guy, and I've had a lot of Russian friends. We get along, we have the same jokes, same interest things. We go for the same bitches, all that shit, right? So I'm not just trying to shit on Russians, right? Just because I'm an Albanian, I've met everyone on earth. But check this out now. All of internet culture, and that's what this is. If you're raised on 4chan, you're raised into the internet culture, you're raised by internet culture, then you're raised by Hitler. That's the truth. And if you're raised by Hitler, which is the whole internet, right, especially this side's the most cooked on that, right, and we even lost jobs with that. If you're raised with the Hitler energy, then you know for a fact Slavic people are not white. And even if it wasn't Hitler, everything that happened after Hitler with the Cold War stuff, they're not building the utopia. The Americans are building the utopia. Okay? And if we look at Christology through a Steinerian lens, Russians are going to be pieces of shit for another 350 years before they fully digest, download the Christ impulse. They have another 350 years of being fucking garbage, just like everyone else on earth. For the next 350 years, it will be the Americans pushing the Christ impulse. I'm not saying that to you just because I'm a Albanian guy and Albanian people are very pro-America. I'm not saying that. I'm saying objectively, to save your soul, you don't want to incarnate on earth and not support the freedom impulse, the Christ impulse. That is a dangerous way to live life. And I've avoided this topic for over 7 years because I don't want to explain it. I don't want to confuse people. I don't want none of that. I don't want you guys coming around trying to stab me. I can't. What am I going to fight all of you? Like, it's going to be a million of you. What I'm telling you right now, you want Americans to push technology and peptides and everything new into the world. You want them to solve all the illnesses and everything. Right? For every evil guy up there, there's some good guy that comes out and invents something. And he's always some Aryan ass nigga. And even some Italian guys, some guys who, you look at Italy, just Google how many Albanians are in Italy since the days of Rome. And let me tell you about something about those guys is whether they're Italians from Italy or Albanians in Italy, neither of them go to work. Like, that's the truth about Europeans, that yes, we have the best DNA. It's our turn. It's finally our turn. You could say, like Nick loves to talk about, it's always been our turn throughout history. And it's like, dude, if you look at even longer into the history, if you look into through clairvoyant investigation, even before pre-recorded history that you don't know about, other cultures have had turns, but recorded history, when clairvoyance was vanishing and intellectualism started rising, yes, it feels like it's just the white impulse. This is a long. It feels like it's just all of history, but it's actually a lot more fair than that. Which that stings too, because I don't want to give it to the other colors. Let's be real, and no one does. We don't even if we fucking came into consciousness about that, we'd be like, nah, we're gonna stick to regular. Not that history is fake. I'm saying before recorded history, you'd see other colored people dominating like the white man is for all of recorded history. Okay, and the timeline is a lot longer than you think. And then don't get me started on Atlantis and all of that. You're not ready for that. So all aboard, we have to pick now ASU Mauger versus Nick Fuentes, who we've been with Nick consistently for how long? Like, it's almost a decade. But Nick said Albanians are not white. And that broke my fucking. I didn't feel anything, to be honest. In my head, I'm like, you can have any opinion you want. But the second you say a blonde hair, blue eyed person is not white, my nigga, you make the right wing look stupid right now. Like, first of all, the left is eating this up, laughing at all of us. And I'm like, just say they're lower totem pole whites. You can do that. I like the totem idea a lot, by the way. You know, it's like a lot of people think I'm Albanian, so I want Albanians in America and running New York. And not really. Like, what? That benefits me. I like dab them up on the street. That's fun for me, but it's not good for America. For America, it should be Germans. And then they build new internet systems that make our lives easier. So the whole world goes to the internet age in a new way. That's what you want. You don't want China to give you the internet. You don't want none of these other guys to give you this shit. You don't want no camel fucker telling you how to live your life. You want the freedom impulse doing it. Um, do I feel more white than Nick Fuentes because he's 25% Mexican? No. I don't. I feel Nick is at a level of whiteness, just appearance wise, and the things that he does, his actions, his thinking, feeling, and willing on earth. You could just measure all that. He looks like he looks like my dad with the green eyes. He looks like my older brother with the green eyes. They are moral to their core. They inspire me to be higher levels of I want to reach towards the stars. They don't get there's zero distractions in these kinds of men. These are the best kinds. Do I see Nick as a zero distraction, no nonsense nigga? Yeah, I do. But is it puzzling to me that I have more white DNA than Nick? I mean, does it matter? I got the dark complexion white guy. It's like a dark Charizard. I got the a lower totem pole incarnation, but as a dark Pokemon. And Nick is 5'8". I am 6'5". I don't think I should be complaining here, but I get all the bitches. And that ruins my incarnation. That makes me more black. I'm a nigga. That makes me a nigga. Only niggas talk about bitches. Who gives a fuck about these bitches? It's about sitting down having dinner with Donald Trump and Kanye. So, and really, when I sit down next to Nick, I've never felt he's anything else besides white. And I think he's for the white agenda. I think strategically it's stupid if he let's say if Nick said, no, you Bosnians with blue eyes and blonde hair and white skin, you Albanians with blue eyes, blonde hair, and white skin. Come on. If he tried to convert them, do you know how fast white DNA converts to Catholic? It's like overnight, and none of their parents get angry. You know, if a Bosnian converts to a Christian, his own family says, okay, whatever. It's nothing like Arabs. If you have atheist Albanian parents, you convert to you walk towards the cross. Nobody gives a fuck. It's, Arabs will kill you for that. So I'm like, did Nick miss out huge not bringing them over here? But he thinks of it from like a political point of view where it's like, nah, they're never gonna convert. Fuck these guys. And if that's true, let's say Nick is 100% true on that. Hey, we gotta drop Exodia right now. And Nick drops it. He says, if you are white but claim to be a Muslim, you drop your white card for eternity. You are no longer white. As much as I love the Aryan niggas on fucking social media dominating, and I don't want to see them stop dominating, but rules is rules, bro. You're not white. And I'm telling you right now, I only say that to you because you're never going to be a Bosnian Muslim guy. You're going to be a Bosnian guy getting forced to do things by Arabs. You're never going to be a Muslim Albanian guy. You're going to be an Albanian guy who's being bullied by Arabs. You're gonna start seeing your circle get very Arabic, and you're gonna be like, oh, I feel like I'm being bullied right now. You're gonna feel like a cuck because your DNA, your blood is tied to Skenderbeg. It's tied. The only symbol you have on your Wikipedia of being the oldest tribe in Europe, said by white Aryans. Aryans said that. They said, yeah, they're the oldest. Well, they're not. I don't give a fuck about Albanians, but at least they're the old. Everyone knows that they're the only original Mediterraneans. But it's because they're linked to the incarnation of Skenderbeg, the Catholic, that stopped Turks from invading into Italy and advancing their positions. But the Albanian will betray his oversoul, who he is linked to, and God, without even realizing it. A lot of these Albanians don't realize that you're betraying the Christ force. And I wouldn't say that to you if you're an Arab. If you're an Arab, you have a lower level evolution, so stay with the Quran until you come onto this side. But if you're linked to Skenderbeg through your blood, if you're linked to George, if you're linked to whiteness and the Christ force, you know what? It's your choice, but don't come to us when you don't feel like an Albanian anymore. You feel like an Arab now. And some of you Albanians are like, well, Zherka, what about my Muslim parents? I'm like, put them on a call with me on stream right now. They'd be laughing their ass off and they'd be like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you can go to a church with Zherka. They would, do you think they'd hate me, you fucking idiot? No. But you put me on a stream, on a call with Arab dads, they would hate me because they'd be like, no, this is our instinctual blood tie. But no Albanian has an instinctual blood tie to no fucking camel shit. Fuck are you talking about? We rode horses, bro. Snap out of it. And look, man, I'm just gonna say it. When have you ever seen an Albanian that's bad with women? That never exists. That Mediterranean energy is so dominant in living an enjoyable life. You should bathe in that energy, not run to Arabs. You know what I mean? Hell, have some time being an atheist. That's even better for a little while, just until you delete those thought forms, those camel thought forms. But yeah, is Nick white? Yes, he is 100% white. I don't care what you guys say. Is ASU Marger white? 100% white. Are they on the same level of whiteness? In my opinion, they are, right? Or else I'd feel an anger towards that. And people are like, well, look at the sheets, look at the. No, what the fuck? No. Um, no, and they're both born in America, so they've got an American energy to them. Like these guys should be on the same team, but Nick was so smart. He knew that he was going to get betrayed by ASU. He knew, and ASU is going to look hilarious when he's running around with Arabs as the only Aryan guy. He's gonna look like Sonny Faz. And he's not gonna like that look. He grew up in Arizona. He knows white people. Like what the fuck? So he's doing it to himself. We support both. They're both great, but unless the ASU guy becomes his content turns religious, then if you don't stay with the Christ force on earth, you are not a follower of mine. Okay, that's just like, come on. We can support people, we can like their shit, but misleading people is, come on, dude. This is not a joke. This is the next question: is Nick talking shit about the Balkans niggas, bro? Stop. The Balkan niggas, whether they're at a fucking coffee shop, everyone from the Balkans, whether they're at a coffee shop or wherever the fuck they're at, on the internet, all Balkan people do is talk about themselves. And it's like nobody gives a fuck about these tiny countries. I tell these guys to their face every day, I'm like, you're embarrassing us when you're talking about your country all the time. In America, nobody even knows where your country is on the fucking map, and you're pretending like the world has to know. Like, no human goes around saying, you point Madagascar on a map. Like, stop embarrassing us. It's embarrassing when a Croatian and a Bosnian and Albanian guy try and tell me, yo, did you watch the news for back home? What home? What are you talking about? Do you think I follow the poll? I don't even vote there. What are you fucking talking about? I'm not following any of that. What are you talking? You're not either. You grew up in America. What the fuck are you talking about? And people are like, well, no, you can't just you gotta watch the news channel. And no, dude, you're supposed to individuate. If you're in America, use the American oversoul and go far in your life and then go back to your country and fucking feed them, do something for them. But don't just stay as the same guy at the same coffee shop for the rest of your life in a tracksuit, right? Smoking your Marlboros. Like, there's more to life than that. Use the Atlantean energy, and it can I beg of you. All right. And people are saying, dude, you're too nice to Nick. You're too nice. That's how look at what I said in 2018. It's the same opinions, bro. My opinions don't change. If you want me to be critical of Nick for one thing, okay, here it is. Okay. And I don't know if it's just me being, I'm just being an angry guy today, or if I've been noticing this for a few months. And I think I have been noticing this for a few months. Nick Fuentes, right? The leader of the right wing. And then it's Myron, right? And I'm not really political, but I guess I'm a general in case these guys get killed. Yeah. I'd say Clav and me are more about individuation, and these guys are more about the group soul thinking. So it depends which way you lean, right? So I'd say ours is more fun, but Clav and I could go to prison. Where Myron and Nick, they can't go to prison unless it's Israel. They only have one political prison they have to avoid, right? Somehow. But Clav and me, we're just running people over. That's a joke. That's a joke to the mods. Okay. Yeah, my only critique of Nick is like, do I think Nick is Mexican? No, I think he's white. I think you think he's white. I think anyone saying he's a Mexican in the fucking chat is coping. But Nick is awfully restrained for the last few months. I don't know if it's just me seeing this, but he's been really. If there's one thing we could critique him on is he's kind of on the back foot when he's talking to Sneeko's Muslims, his Muslim chatters. They'll come infiltrate, and it's like for the last few months, all we see is Nick saying, "Hey, Sneeko, I think we're friends, but you're always attacking us, and Nick is always on the, he's not on the back foot. He's never like this. I'm like, what happened? There's no way. It's just politeness. Like, what the fuck happened? And nothing happened. It's just he's being a nice guy. They had like some dinner together and stuff. And 99% of Sneako's content is we pray in the streets of New York and fuck your bitches, your white bitches. Fuck you gonna do about it, Nick? But he doesn't say Nick. He's talking to the audience because he knows that they're in his chat because Sneeko used Nick to level up. I don't know how nobody remembers that. Well, no, he had a lot of followers, and really at the time he was low viewers. He used Nick, and it's like not to start shit. They should remain friends, but this idea that Nick has to pussyfoot around the Sneeko question, right? The SQ, while Sneeko's just fucking badgering and destroying and just literally, you're a cock. We took over New York with Mandani. Yeah, nigga. We took over that shit. Give me that. That's mine. We pray here, nigga. Fuck the mosque. We pray on the streets because this is a race war. And all the white people are like, no, no, we gotta be cucked little bitches. We gotta get ASU guy to fucking pray on the streets. And he better not do that. And Nick is like, hey guys, you guys gotta pray on the streets? You gotta do that? It's like, what are we talking about here? This is the Nick Fuentes channel. He should say, Sneeko, shut the fuck up. Boom. And Sneeko will just be like, yap, 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 and then he'll calm down. He won't snake him again, right? And it's like, dude, I'm telling people, it feels like Twilight Zone. I'm an old ass nigga, but it feels like this old show. Google Twilight Zone. It's crazy. It's such a good show, right? It's black and white. It was actually. I'll post about it after, okay? And I'm wrapping it up right now, but I'm telling you right now, let's fucking eat. I'm telling you right now, if we see another Nick Fuentes clip where he's saying, "Hey, Sneeko, play fair, be nice," if we see one more of those clips, I am going to attack Sneeko on every single space I get on for the next whole of 2026. And I am every little clip I'm gonna watch and say, here's another Nick Fuentes interaction with Sneeko where Nick is afraid and Sneeko's literally shitting on white people in their own fucking towns, in their own countries. And I'm going to hyper fixate on that until Nick goes, you know what? Zherka's crowd they're like the Myrmidons. They're forward. Their ship is forward, like Achilles' sail, like that Brad Pitt movie. They won't get off my ass. They're hyper analyzing every clip. They're making me look bad. No, dude, we are not. We haven't done years and years of this shit nonstop, no problems. We never had one fucking problem with Nick. And now the problem is gonna be what? Sneako's smile, his big smile, like we're conquering America and there's nothing you can do about it. And Nick is like, well, okay, well, I guess I'll be a little rude. He's being a lot rude. What the fuck? He's being a lot rude. Someone grab every clip of Sneeko being rude to the white movement. Compare it to Nick. Nick hasn't even hit back once. And then people are like, well, maybe it's because Zherka, you attack. Bro, I'm gone for a few weeks. I'm not really a part of that. I'm talking about people who are live every day. They're really active. I was like, no, no, no. Dude, the hardest right wing channel is not going to appease green flags and all this fucking camel shit. No way. Hell no. Hell, if we start doing that, I even think, fuck this shit. If we start doing that, what is the point of being, oh, I'm anti-Zion, I'm anti-Jew. There's no point to that if you're letting fucking Muslims enter New York. There's no point to any of this. This is not how, this is getting fucking weird. You know, this is getting fucking weird. I mean, I look on Twitter. I'm like, why am I the only one saying this? Why is everyone else cool with letting them? Bro, they have mosques, so they have a place to pray, and they choose the streets. You think white people will go to Saudi Arabia and do that shit? They never, even if they could, they wouldn't do that shit out of respect. These people don't have soul respect. They're fucking animals. The ones that don't pray are cool, but the ones that have to go downtown and do that, you know what they're doing, man. Don't ever think, hey, I'm Nick Fuentes. We're cool with the Muslims. No, we're not. When they stop praying on the streets, then you can do that little gay shit you're doing. But right now, no, we're not. And that's the end of the call. You are listening to Zerkology Radio. All right, let's get some people in here. Go ahead. Yeah, how long was that? Next. I'm such a good, fantastic speaker that I'm so good at this that like when other people are on, it just gets weird. Like they don't know what they're doing.
Zherka,
Yeah, what?
Zherka, you know you have me blocked, right? I had to get on my Clippers account. I wanted
Yeah,
to.
aren't you Muslim though?
I am, bro, but like
Yeah, yeah, you're a faggot like your
I'm
family.
also
Yeah,
Albanian with like
you're
you,
a
bro.
faggot.
And it's
You're not
like,
an Albanian. You're a faggot. Never forget that. Look, man, if you're a Muslim Albanian, I don't hate you. I've never even said anything about you guys. But you're hovering around Arabs, meaning it's not even Albanian. It's not even that Albanian Islamic thing where they don't really know about it. It's the Arab version. If there's an Arab over soul over you, it's like, what? What are you talking about? Not even your parents. You Albanians who hang out with Arabs all day, your parents don't hang out with Arabs. Find one fucking Albanian on earth that their family chills with an Arab family. You'll never find that. Not that they're racist, but they just don't get along. Albanians hang out with Greeks and Italians and other, people like, oh, you make this kind of food, and Arabs make a whole different kind of food, homie. Like, what are you talking about? You fucking faggot. Fucking embarrassment. Yeah, go ahead. It's like, do you put lemon in your tea or do you put lime? Are you white or are you Arab? You lime. People who put lime in their tea are fucking Arabs. Never fucking forget that. I've never seen a green lemon on my fucking tea. White people use lemon. We don't use lime. You fucking idiot. I've never seen a lime until I started working at nightclubs. I didn't even know what the fuck a lime was. It's not even sour. How the fuck is that on your tea? You stupid fucking idiot.
Hey, what's up, Zherka?
Yeah, hit me.
So I just had
Oh,
a
can I put
question.
honey on my tea? No, you don't fucking put honey on your tea. No one's ever done that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just had a question about something you spoke about. It's like two things, I guess, that like correlate with each other. You said in that Jack Neal podcast that you don't like white people because of their skin, you like them because of their thought forms. And I was wondering, is that just a DNA thing, or is that purely through the Christ impulse, or is that one of those things that like comes in waves? Like you said, like each group of people, they have their like generational run, right? Like right now it's the white people, and in the beginning it was the Indians, or at least
Yeah.
that's what I remember you saying. So is that
That's that's
only through the
that's
Christ
before.
impulse, or is that just like a pattern that happens?
Yeah, if you're confused, like when was it the Indians? It's before recorded history, when people were more clairvoyant. But yeah, I know what your question is. It's like, why are white people's thought forms so much higher level than other people's? It's because they're the closest to the Christ force, even when they are atheists, because atheists build technology to help the world. That's why white people are obsessed with making a wheelchair that can go anywhere. But you look at Arabs, they're obsessed with building missiles, and you look at the Chinese, they're obsessed with surveillance, and only white people are like, how can we get someone walking if they're crippled? We're not waiting for God, we're doing it ourselves. And God smiles at that energy, does not intervene, because once you have it within, you can just let it shine, right? Just let your ego consciousness bring a cripple from his wheelchair to his feet, walking. That's what white people's interests are, is helping the world. Is it all white people? Most of them. That's why when Zerka meets a blue-eyed, blonde-haired person, ask Zerka how many times he's been snaked by a blue-eyed, blonde-haired person. Zero. How many fucking business relationships? A billion. Even illegal business. They don't have that snake thing in them. And people are like, well, that's because you're white. And no, they're a different kind. They're Nordic. I'm the kind that's passionate and plays guitar and takes your bitch. I'm a lower level. They're higher level. Bro, when I was 15 years old, I wasn't thinking about how to get someone off a wheelchair and walking. I was thinking of 15-year-old shit like an Albanian, like an like a more Italian kind of energy. You know what I mean? I wasn't thinking like a Swede, a German. Who A German doesn't go to the nightclub. He doesn't do none of that fuck shit. He sits down and goes, how can I design a pill that will end cancer forever? At 15 years old, they start that because the people close to the Christ Force. You can see they start their careers at 15. They already know kind of what they're supposed to do, right? It's all intuitive, right? That's why then the greatest people you'll meet on earth always start their careers extremely early. And the worst people you meet they pop off like when they're 45, very late. But bro, I'm telling you, the passion of saving the world, all the colors and all the races have it. But who has it in quantity? Like the biggest field of quantity is in America. That's the truth. So let's say if you had a million, a million people trying to solve cancer and they're all white, would you not let them lead the charge? Or are you going to wait till your mother has cancer or your father or your brother? And then you're waiting for an Arab, Chinese guy, an African guy to enter ego consciousness enough to what? To what? Even what? There's like one inventor from a whole continent? You want to play the game with that kind of odds? That's why I say you can feel like the most cuck guy on earth supporting the white man until your family members get a disease or a cancer. And then you go, wait a minute, shouldn't we have left the softest hearted, the soft hearted people? Shouldn't we have given them more opportunity? And the people playing football barefoot on the street, like Brazilians, those guys can just fucking play football all day. It's like, Americans are running around doing everything. Sneeko is a faggot. I'm not here to shit on Sneeko. I feel like people do that every fucking time they're live, but I see what you're saying. Like, but why do you think that? I have so many reasons, but why do you think that? No, you don't have the balls to say it. Listen, we'll add more people, but I'm not just going in depth in these answers. I'm trying to get you guys stimulated. I want you guys out there in the world saying, you know what? I'm not going to do business with the Jew this time. I want to trust the Aryan guy. Because if Zherka had good experiences with the Aryan guy, it's like, and people are like, well, that's because Zherka's. No, it's not because they don't cope, bro. My eyes are not blue. Okay, I'm not part of the club. I'm a part of a different club. I have an earthly disposition. Mine is more dark and evil. They are 15 years old saying, I want to build an exoskeleton to make a cripple walk. And this will only touch your heart if you have an uncle or if you have someone in your family, right? One person in your family who's a cripple, and you start getting affected by what I'm saying, you're a good person. You should you should want you should want whiteness to rise because the last time whiteness rose, you got the internet and could speak to that uncle across seas. So, and people are like, well, would you be saying this if Indians were on top? Yes. 100% I would. What do you think? I'm like Nick and all these guys who the reason I'm into color is for other reasons. No, the reason I'm into color for my first reason, and I think it's Nick's first reason too. He just hasn't said it. If Nick could just say it, he should say it like this: white people invent everything. Let them invent more than just the internet. That's like the greatest argument in the universe. But his job is to debate people and take it other directions. And it's the other way around. People are like, oh, religion's not about color. It's like, dude, then why are white people holding the cross closest to their heart in every incarnation, even when they're atheists? Why? Sneeko is a traitor that left Christ for a towel-head desert dweller cult. But his grandfather is a Jew, so we shouldn't be surprised. What's funny? His grandfather's not even Jewish. He just says that to get on band. Like, can't you? And it's not like I talk to him and I know that. I know when someone's lying. I can just see it. Like Gary. Like Gary's not even Jewish. Like, what the fuck? It's a Russian. Which is funny. He sounds like a Jew. All right, let's see what we got here. Bring in the PT Cruisers, bro.
Zherka,
Yo,
Sneeko is a faggot because he didn't have his father in his life.
Yeah, he did. What are you talking about? You grew up with both parents, didn't you?
I feel like he has a death drive. You said that before.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he grew up with both parents. I'm like almost positive on that. And
yo,
remember,
Zherka.
his father is Arab people now. Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think about Persians?
About what?
Persians.
I said this the other day. I was like, I have an instinct to be like, Persians, yeah, you're not white. And, Hitler liked them. Hitler said that they're their own thing, but they're a type of whiteness. But I'll say this from every experience I've ever had with a Persian, they've they've never done harm to me or anyone I knew. Right? It's same with my experiences with Mexicans, which people get shocked. They're like, you had only good experience with Mexicans. I'm like, yeah, I guess I got lucky. But for Persians, it's like, dude, I used to hang out with this guy named Trainwrecks TV, and he randomly
Wait, Trainwreck is Persian?
yeah, he's Persian, and he randomly sent me $45,000 one time when I was up. I wasn't even down. I was like doing great, and not that I gamble. I'm saying I was doing good in life, and he just sent me $45,000 and really stimulated my podcast. Everyone wanted to be around me. They wanted and then he gifted all my fucking followers, the people who are on, like 10,000 each, and a bunch of crypto after that. I don't even know what the total is. I think the totals could be like 80,000 if we include all the favors, and that was all within a 2 week period. And I didn't even need the money. I was doing great. I was doing really good because I had that audience. But yeah, for Persians, it's like what a nice guy. Like that's how I remember Persians and the nightclub. They would tip big, and they didn't do drugs in the nightclub, which blew me away. I'm not saying Persians don't do drugs. I'm saying in my city, it didn't see every color did drugs. White people did the most drugs in my city. Like everyone in my city would love drugs and shit. But the Persian guys were like, oh, cool. It looked like they were always sober. They didn't drink much, so never had a problem with one. Do I find them white? No, I would call that something else. I'd still think Albanians are a much higher level white than that, even though Persians have developed way more. They're huge, they're massive. But on the whiteness scale, I'm like, on the whiteness scale, I'd say they're lower. And that doesn't mean like their soul is more evil or anything. I'm just saying, we're looking at who's closest to the impulse of freedom, really. And yeah, in my experience, I mean, and I'm pretty sure everyone listening is going to be like, yeah, I think Persians are pretty cool. Um, I've also had really strong experiences with black people, but I'm on Twitter a lot, so I'm conflicted. On Twitter, they look like absolute fucking animals, you know. So I don't know. Are you a Persian, right?
Yeah, I am. And like, dude, there's so many different kinds of Persians, you know? And, you
Bro,
know,
all of them, have you noticed all of them are atheists? Like, I've never met a religious person ever. I've met like hundreds
so,
of them. Why are they
dude,
all like, none of them give a fuck about religion? They always say that shit's stupid as fuck.
well, they're Zoroastrian, right? So my dad,
Exactly.
when
Yeah.
you talk about your dad, okay, and like his views and how you make him sound and whatnot, it reminds me exactly of my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nonstop about fucking
Um,
science and all that shit. And
all right. All
dude,
right.
enough
Good
Sneeko, bro.
good shit.
Holy fuck, you get it.
Good shit. Good shit. Yeah, I'm speed running. Yeah, I'm speed running. Yeah. Wait, what do you say? Is that guy for us or against us? What do you say?
Zherka, you think the Muslims should leave
Yeah.
America or not?
I'll say this: any Muslim that puts on a piece of paper that it's okay to pray in the streets of New York, like the way they're doing, inciting a race war, any Muslim that checks the box and says that's okay should be kicked the fuck out permanently and sent back to their whatever country. I don't. They're going to be sent back to where the country they love the most, and you're going to see them crying. That's what's going to happen. Okay. Um,
So they should
I
leave.
feel, yeah. I mean, like, let's be real, dude. Do you want to be around a group of people that's always trying to convert you, or is that like rape energy?
I feel
You know,
so
like you're
bad
around
for
Muslims
Sonny,
and they're
bro.
always,
Sonny Faz got
yeah, you know
absolutely
what I mean?
raped.
Yeah, Sonny, exactly, Sonny, yeah, exactly, yes, exactly, yes.
Dude, I saw a video of Sonny reciting the fucking Quran, and he just looked like a fucking retard, bro. I was like, what the fuck, dude? He got raped into that fucking religion, dude.
Well, he's gone so far that it's kind of become a comedic thing, you know? Like I feel like I'll say this, bro. I've had a lot of fucking Arab buddies. You'd be shocked, right? And they're still my buddies. And they all watch people like Sonny, and you don't know that 50% of Sonny's Arab audience is laughing at him. I swear to God, they do the public support, like we have the same God, but they're like to them, it's like a white boy's getting fucked in the ass by an Arab, and they're gay, bro. They love that shit. Like they find that shit fucking hilarious. And when you tell that to an Albanian, they go, "Whoa, but maybe I am an atheist." Nobody wants an Arab behind them, you know, like that, like sexually, like what the
And in
fuck.
my opinion, dude,
And
Sonny would be a badass Christian, bro. Like, he would be a fucking badass.
Bro,
If he had
Sonny's
the
a
Holy Spirit
faggot,
with him, he'd
bro.
be a badass.
Fuck Sonny.
yeah, I don't know where things went wrong. I mean, like, he grew up without a father. He found his incarnated father, which is Beck, the Albanian guy that looks like a mafia mobster. He has a cool look to him. He's got like that evil look, and he looks like a really cool guy. I don't know why he thinks I hate the guy, but like I've never hated an Albanian guy like ever. When I see you guys, I dab you guys up. But Beck is also really confused. You know, like if you say to Beck like, "Bro, you're not an Arab," he'll wake up. You can bring him back into consciousness. But it is funny to me that, you know, Sonny found his incarnated father and he's thriving. He's doing great with him because, you know, everyone wants to see a white boy doing something weird. And that's the content, right?
I think they're trying to conquer the white race, bro.
100% they think
The
Sneeko and
Muslims.
Sonny are maxing and laughing at how gullible they are. Fuck these treacherous pieces of shit.
Yeah, it is strange that they do it in tongue in cheek, but then every now and then they leak their true power level. And usually it's Nick saying, hey, whoa, or me. Only two channels on earth that say, hey, what the fuck? That sounds weird. But now it's just me and Nick is appeasing these sneako chatters. Like, bro, first of all, if you're a sneako chatter, dude, dude, come on.
It's all Muslims, bro.
Yeah,
Following Sneeko.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah. Well, I
so
mean, their real punishment is they're away from the Christ force. They're never gonna laugh like us. They're never gonna actually live life. They're always gonna be, oh, Fatima, what do you think? And you know what's weird, man? There is no respect in doing all that for content. You know, like you could tell, like when someone's doing it for content, you could tell someone's religious because they don't want to conquer other people. They're at peace. But Sonny has this thing that he wants to conquer his white father for letting him down because he can't find a girlfriend that will not go to the nightclub. So the West has fallen, and I have to kill the West. And it's like, bro, it's a little too much, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man.
yeah, so I just wanted to give some pushback on an idea I heard you speak about from like a Steiner perspective. I do not have a conclusive stance on this. I just wanted to see what you would say. So
Yeah.
I thought the whole reincarnation thing, I thought of this idea of the value proposition, right? Doesn't, if we know life is valuable, then wouldn't it be the highest value level if we're only given one life? Would that not debunk the idea of reincarnation from
Yeah,
that
I mean,
perspective?
you are right, but when you're using the word life, you're using the word Christ, and Christ is eternal.
Okay, makes sense.
But I know what you're saying. Does it, in the video game of life, does it feel like just one lifetime? It does. Because you remember that dream period, that other period, is not to be remembered. The fun part, the heavenly part, you go there for a long time, some people longer than others, and you get rejuvenated to come back and help souls lift back up towards spirit. You know, some people tap out, some people take vows to keep coming back again and again, all the way until this earth. Where do you think this earth has to go with all of your thinking, feeling, willing? It has to join the stars. The earth has to rise and rise and rise, Or you can go to government science. But why don't you go to government science? It's a spinning ball. It's a fucking spinning ball.
Nah, yeah, fuck that shit.
Fuck that shit, nigga.
Nah,
All right.
but so
Yeah.
yeah, regardless, then you would agree then, even if reincarnation is a thing and we go up and come back down, on a practical level, you're supposed to treat it like it's one life, so you like make maximum progress, right? Like get the best out of it.
Yeah, it's all you'll never find a soul that doesn't regret living every single day good. That's why the people who are in my cult, in my secret society, a lot of them, as shocked as they are for the information I'm giving them, they're more linked to me as in, hey, I'm with you until I die because you remind me every day matters and you're the only influencer that lives like that because you're not live. Now, if you saw Zherka go live 7 days a week, 5 days a week, even 3 days a week, you would immediately have to stop trusting me. Why? Because being live entangles you in beefs, online beefs all day. So you're producing garbage thought forms and you're not progressing the way you think you are, but you're making material wealth on earth. And so, there will be a time in my life where I start going live and then you can start seeing the trolling, the fun parts come out of me. It's like impossible not to get tangled with matter, it's impossible. It's impossible to not get tangled like that. But no, but I think the most important part of living life on Earth, besides designing an art form of how your day should go, which is never complete. You can always not even add stuff or readjust postures and the way you do this at this time and stuff. It's not just an art to living your life. It's that every day you're looking forward towards meaning, more self-remembering. But when you live a normal life that's away from all of this, you start getting enormous moments of meaning and synchronicity, maybe once a year, maybe twice, maybe if you're lucky a couple times a year. And I think that's a horrible way to live life. A lot of people are like, well, if I make money, it's not about the money, dude. It's the meaning you feel of why you're getting money finally. The meaning behind it will rejuvenate you. Meaning is linked to the heavenly, the higher, or Swedenborg would call it the celestial. That is, and people are like, Zerga, you're asking, you're pushing way too hard if you really think you're going to get meaning out of every single day of your life. Not even a mystic would say that. And it's like, sure, but aiming for it will at least unfold you a week at a time immensely. That's 52 weeks a year, right? My way, even if it sounds a little extreme, 7 days a week, it sounds like way too much. It even clutters your sinning. You're like, I don't have time to sin because I'm on the Zerka train, and Zerka pushes you towards sin. Like, live a little. You have to just stay sane.
Yo,
Shut
Zherka, so you used to talk about this fucking
are,
this your first mentor, quote unquote, and he
are
was a
you
fucking drug
Asian?
dealer. No, I'm the Persian guy.
Okay, go
And
ahead.
dude, I had the same exact fucking experience where I don't know what it was, bro. This dude used some sort of dark forces and I was in a black magic fucking like thing, dude, and like this dude got all the bitches. He had everything coming, bro. He had fucking money and everything. And like he would tell me, bro, he would tell me like during nighttime, like whenever it would get dark, he would get off his phone and he would stare at his wall until 4 a.m. And the only thing he would think about is how to get money, bro. And I would hang out with this guy. Like, I hung out with this guy for like, so I lived in New York for
That
four
guy's a
months, but
faggot.
during during like a year and a half or something like that, dude. This dude, I don't know what he was a drug dealer, scammer, and all that shit. But whenever you would talk about your first mentor, about him being a drug dealer and shit, it really reminds me of that guy.
Yeah, and in a strange way, the most waking up you'll have in life is that first piece of shit friend you have. That he's not even piece of shit to you, he's a piece of shit to the world, and you're observing. You don't realize you're becoming like him until it's too late. And you're like, whoa, that my whole framework, my whole psychology is built off him. And that's how the human actually jumps levels of consciousness is, you hang out with that guy who's a sinner because you want to be a sinner enough to get the girl. For example, you have to be more courageous, which involves more forward energy. When it spills over, it turns to big sin, too much. And I still remember, I'm like, how fast can the soul morph? I'll hang around this guy, he'll teach me things and all that. How fast could I? It was fast, bro. You can you can become whoever you're hanging out with very fast. It's like you ever watch a YouTube channel and you start sounding like them. It happens quick, and you know I owe him everything because I still remember when he said to me, "Nobody teaches you how to think." And he smoked his cigarette and we were high as fuck doing a bunch of lines. Just rails, man, just fucking rails. We were, and he was Saudi. He was a Saudi, and he was weird. Like he'd talk about Saudi like it's the greatest place ever. But anytime his dad would say, "Come back home," he'd say, "No, no, I can't." You know, and he just listened to rap music and all this LA shit. And it was just like the most American Saudi ever with like the thick accent, and we party, we go places, we go to war against people, and we had like every color in our fucking gang. It was the worst members in the town were, you know how every gang has a color and ethnicity they represent? We had like a diverse group from every, which is
Power
big no no.
Rangers.
Yeah, it was Power Rangers, bro. It was fucking awesome. And I still remember when we're alone. We're waiting for people to come over. It's like 4 a.m. That fucking, it's not even sunny out or anything like that. It's just dark and it's raining and we're fucking high as fuck. And we're like, we went hard. Him and I went harder than anyone in the city except white guys. White guys can always do the most drugs. For some reason, they can always take it. They'll be like, oh, let's do a line and add shrooms. And we're like, what? What the fuck are you talking? We're not doing that. Let's add LSD to, they're just, they have a lot cleaner karma. Like I'm not talking about white guys. I'm talking about higher level whites. So like these guys would be like Irish or a Swedish or, just party guys they're just too ambitious with that. They want the real gnosis. Let's try this, let's try that. So, anyways, he's smoking a cigarette and he looks at me and goes, "Nobody teaches you how to think." And for some reason, I didn't think it's like an Instagram quote or anything stupid. I knew that he was tormented by that question his whole life when he said that. This hook nose motherfucker, like went to his wedding, married a white woman. This guy's awesome, right? This guy, he's like, I was so against it. I was like, bro, go marry your own people. But I knew that, he's fucking dying. He's fucking harming himself. It was whatever, and they're great. They're great people. But I remember when he said, "Nobody teaches you how to think," and this guy looks like a zombie, like a mummy. We both did, like I was just dying back in those days. And it was the room was filled with smoke. And I remember I said, because my mind always goes to government and things that block us from thinking and educational systems and the mimesis, all the fucking masks we wear. But that's not what he meant. He started going in on it and he said, blowing smoke into the room, just black smoke. And he would smoke everything to our fingernails, right? And he said, "Nobody is alone with their thoughts." And I'm like, why is this guy saying it? This guy's on drugs. This guy's clearly, he's running from something. But he had this darkness about him where he was alone with his thoughts. And even the greatest saints, you can see it in their eyes that they've been alone with their thoughts in their purifications when they took it all the way. And it's a trauma that's beyond murdering a child, like what a child feels when they're getting murdered. It's a higher level of trauma when you're going to do that level of purification. And it's like, all of you have to go through it eventually. That's the scariest shit on earth. That it'll happen in
Would
degrees
you
at a
ever
time,
fuck
but
Sneeko's hijabi
will
girlfriend in front
be
of him? Or
that's in a weird way. That's kind of hilarious. Um, but I'm telling you, not only is everyone gonna go through it in macro versions, it starts off in micros, and you should feel like every day you're purifying more and more, right? That's why my calls are not just like our races, blah blah blah. It's like, hey, that's gonna equate to the most amount of people dead. Is if you let people pray in the middle of the city, it's gonna start a race war. It's not. We know we've seen this story before. It's not good to support that, right? At least I want to put it on my stream, my karmic stream. That looks like a fast way to hell. Is what's happening there, right? There's mosques for a reason. Go pray there. But I still remember thinking, I'm like, well, what are your techniques? I remember asking him, what are the
Same,
techniques
same.
you go through? And bro, it is mind blowing that it's like there's so much information in 2026, even without me, where you can learn techniques that are so subtle. It feels like it's doing nothing until it does, and it can change your whole life. And there's so much of this information in the world that you're gonna say, oh, it's hidden. It's no, it's free. It's free. The only problem we all have, is our consciousness is probably not at the level to absorb it, but usually it is. You know, you're maturing, you're older than 25, usually you're ready for it. And when you're ready for it, it's like, where do you find the information? Because the problem is not that we don't have the information. You have to stay within one mystery school for 50 years to get it. It's all out there. Use the internet. But the information is in an ocean of other information. And it's impossible to find what's legit. You know, because a lot of the legit stuff looks like it's away from the Christ, and you'll do it wrong. That's why I tell people the first thing you need is a general understanding of what happened in the mystery of Golgotha. What happened is the Christ event just the teaching like these idiots talk about, or is it a genuine alchemical transformation of you and everyone listening? And Christ dying, you're linked to that, even if you're not a Christian, which a lot of Christians hate me for this part, but it's true. You're still linked to it. Not in the most intense way. You can always intensify it. You're on earth to awaken that, you know? But again, it's mind blowing that, like, I made a tweet, I said, what happens when we get brain maxers? Not just putting drugs in the body, alchemically changing a certain thinking pattern, but what happens when we actually have brain maxers? Then you're about to see cults, and they're all going to come back to me and say Zherka's way is the best way. It's not the fastest way, it's the best way, right? And like a lot of people are like, bro, Zherka, you helped me pop off in 6 months, and this guy in a year, and there's way you can pop off in a month if you go the dark path. You could go so much faster, and you're going to see that in the future when intellect becomes something, because people are going to be like, oh, I need the money, I got to figure this out, and I don't want to, make an OnlyFans website like Andrew Tate. I want to do it ethically, but I need the intellect to do this, and blah blah blah. Bro, when we have the brain maxing, which is going to start in what they say in 10 years, but when we have, which is a long time, I know, but when we have the brain maxing saga, dude, you're about to see more insanity than anything. Because most of the people on the front line, the first ones, are gonna go insane. They're gonna mix drugs. They're gonna do this. They're gonna do that. They're gonna only go for the extreme options. Just like how they skip the boring peptides and go for the extreme ones, like retatrutides and, oh, I don't know about this. I don't. You're gonna see some crazy shit. And then after the first group, the first year, all falls dead from their methods driving them to insanity, or working but getting the wrong people around them, and those people snake them, and horrible stuff. Demons enter the horrible thought forms, right? When you get snaked by your business partners, it's not just them. There's demons around you doing it, right? Helping them, right? The influence. And so it's going to be wild, it's going to be what. And I predict that the looks maxers are going to have a saga where some of them drop dead, some of them take it too far. I could see that happening. Or deep levels of depression, despair, anxiety, even suicide. If the looks maxing wave becomes very, very popular, more than it is now, you're going to see like 10 of them drop like flies, right? That's why we have to scare the fuck out of them. That's why I tell them, hey man, have you ever heard of the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Zerka, what do you recommend when you build someone up, like a friend, and then he gets a girlfriend, and then he forgets about you? Like, what do you recommend to do in those situations?
I always maintained that they weren't actually your friend. They just needed stronger, confident thought forms to be around so they could even text the girl. Like they're using your energy to be confident enough to be around her. Like, because when they're alone, they're like falling apart and shit. And those are the type of people that only feel comfortable when they have a girlfriend. You can even find family members like this, cousins. It's like there are some souls that only feel at ease when they
Mhm.
have a woman telling them what to do. And in my community, we call them
Faggots.
faggots, right? Yes. And to me, the punishment is, like I've seen a lot of streamers complain about their buddy ditching them. I've never complained, right? To me, it's like, oh, faggot energy is out of my life. That could have been worse. You never realize when it's seeping in, it just seeps in. But I've never not smiled losing a friend,
Hmm.
right? Because in my head, I'm like, first of all, I'm not going to give them romance. Like we can't do that as men unless you're a faggot. So if romance is what's keeping him off of, jumping off a bridge, I'm really happy that he found the girl and stuff like that. But I'm never in my life opening opportunity to that guy. Not because he's a bad person, but because she's gonna put her claws in it. You know what I mean?
Okay, I understand. So even if it was like a childhood best friend for say, still same approach?
Yeah, if there's women involved, you will never be a part of my incarnation at all. Even if we're family,
What if
even
they
if
break up?
fuck no,
Well,
you
they
will
usually come back
never.
when they break
You
up.
will. They will come right back day one to you. You will never be a part of anything I have going on if feminine energy you know intercepted you. Because look, listen to this, man. When I was taking roids
Hmm.
and my E2 levels were out of control, my estrogen went sky high, and you get really womanly. Like for womanly for us would look like um you get soft, you start becoming a lot more liberal in your psyche. It's actually intense. It could happen to anyone. And even at my worst moments with my estrogen out of control, I never stooped to that level. My buddies have never, ever said, Zherka, this girl changed you. If anything, they've said, go easy on her. She's crying, bro. That's all they've ever said to me. Like, look at my content. Look at my old content. Yeah, it's except my community. My community, my chat would always say, no, fuck that bitch. But if you look at the streamers I'm around and friends, they'd always be like, go easier on the girl. You're a little too aggressive. You just told her shut the fuck up in front of her mom. Like you're going too hard. And I'm the type of guy that's like, if I've never done in my life, it's not that hard. Like, and I think it's the worst way to look. Like, if your buddies say, "Oh, he got a girlfriend and he switched up," that is the worst thing a human could say about you. That they're really saying that you've never been cool. You've always been a weirdo. And to me, a weirdo, and I have cousins like this. I have close people in my life like this. So I'm putting everyone on blast. To me, a weirdo is genuinely a man that is interested in what a woman is doing in anything, even if it's your wife. If you're interested in her life, to me, you are the biggest cuck faggot on earth. I don't care if she's knitting, I don't care what she did at Home Depot. I don't want to hear about it. I will never bore her with my shit I got going on. I'm not going to talk to her about nuts and bolts and building a cabinet. None of that shit. When men and women share activities and they start merging into one, to me that's the gayest. First of all, it's going to happen naturally by
Hmm.
aura, but to me, when they force it, when they like, hey, let's go to this store, that's or the dads, have you seen the dads who are like buying their daughters all the Barbie shit? And I walk up to them in the mall and I go, hey man, are you with, like, this is your kid? Wow, cute kid. Like, where'd you get those shoes? I want to get my daughter those shoes. And they go, yeah, I got those shoes here and they're light up. And like, that's so cool. And yeah, and we start hitting it off. We start talking. Everyone at the mall is talking, and I go, "Oh, you're buying all this Barbie stuff. This is cool. This is cool. My daughter likes this stuff too." And I'm just trolling, right? I'm just trolling, and I'm trolling alone. And then I get to the meat and potatoes, and I go, "How come your wife isn't buying these Barbies for her?" And they always look at me like, "Oh, you were trolling me. You don't actually have a daughter. You don't. You're just here to awaken masculinity in my heart." And they look at me and they smile and they go, well, it's her day off today. And I go, okay.
Cock.
And I walk away on some, hey man, we're already going to make small talk. Everyone's at the mall having their little Starbucks coffees. We're, two white guys see each other in an immigrant filled mall. Yeah, we always talk to each other. So in my head, I'm like, as a man, you got to always push your men into masculinity. I don't care if they're your family members. I don't care if it makes things awkward. Like people are like, Clav makes things awkward when he says that in front of, what's the guy's name? Larry Wheels. That's good. That's good for Clav. That's healthy.
Okay, so I also noticed, I saw you said once that sometimes you won't try to push the red pill on your friends, that it can make things awkward. So what is your stance on that? Like, do you try to push your friends who I guess aren't as aware about it, or do you just let them fuck up on
Yeah.
their own and then they figure out?
I I have never in my life pushed the Jewish question on my buddies. I just make the Jewish joke and they always laugh. They always know what I mean, but I've never said, "Hey guys, this is my opinion on the Jewish tribe and all that." I have never been that corny guy that like brings my with my world affairs into their life. I find that shit so corny. But when there's a Jewish guy on TV asking for money, I'm the first one to burst out laughing. And these guys are, more blue. They'd be more blue, I guess. They have regular
Yeah.
jobs, and they know what I mean. And to me, laughter always red pills someone anyway. It's same with shame. You can shame someone into, you can. There's much better ways than having long, dry conversation. Not even awkward. They're just dry conversations. Like, here's why you should think like me. It's like, no, no, go find out on your own. Now, when all these buddies came back and said, it's the Jews, it's all that to me, I stopped talking about it completely. As soon as that JQ went mainstream, I don't give a fuck about it, because now the mainstream is, what is it, supporting Ian Carroll? Like, it's just weird, man. I'm not a part of that.
All right, that's fair. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Zherka, you said that if you think about,
Mike, you're black, right? You're a black fan of mine?
yeah, I'm black.
Okay, check this out. Check this out.
My nigga.
Everyone's saying I'm a racist. Then how come I'm homies with Mike? Explain that.
Because I fuck with the
Yeah,
whites.
yeah. You get it. You're
You guys are
half
the
white.
Christians.
You have half white in you. That's what it is.
No, but I have a question though.
How you're fully black?
I'm Dominican.
That's not even black. What the
Me no
fuck is
black,
that?
me Dominican, papi.
Dominican's like a Mexican black, right?
I'm in the middle, bro. They try to pull me to the blacks, and then
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
You're like me.
Zerka,
Yeah. What's your
when you're getting
yeah?
close with girls, you're trying to reel new ones in, right? Do you let them know ahead of time? Like, do you put out the energy that you have multiple girlfriends already and that you're not going to be loyal, or do you like kind of trick them into it?
No, I always say I'm talking to people. I talk to a bunch of women, but that's the truth. I talk to a bunch of women, but I don't date. I don't go out. I wait for the season, spring, summer, and all that. But I think the truth is awesome because it's like the greatest thing a woman can hear is that you're a ladies' man that's honest about it and you're not apologetic about it. And not one of them are your actual girlfriend. It's like always an illusion, a mystery, right?
Okay.
Because I find the more details you add to your life, the more cringe you look. Like when women are around me, they always go, they're like waiting for me to do Zerka shit, and I'm just being normal, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And to me, that energy is so cool that they build me up in their head like a suit, like I'm the blue Power Ranger. I love that shit. But if I start doing Zerka shit and fucking telling them, "Yo, this is Stacy, this is my favorite bitch," if I start doing that, like I'm on camera, bro, that kills my mystery. They don't know what level of life I'm on. They don't know if I'm at 5 bitches or 50. They don't know. I'm at 5,000.
Okay. Hey, how come you don't use Instagram?
Yeah, I got banned a couple times from it, and I just remember someone telling me that no one's ever made money off Instagram. Like, if you have a million followers on Instagram, look at their paycheck. Like, Google it right now. Million followers on Instagram. It's the only platforms you should ever saturate is Twitter, and that's also a network too, believe it or not. The Instagram network is just tits. It's not.
Correct.
It's not real. But Twitter, YouTube, and the third, if you could do Twitch, awesome. But you guys are my audience, so you'll get banned. But Twitter, YouTube, max out Discord groups, and people just, how people send you different groups to
Yeah.
join. Max it out. You'll always meet good people. Hey man, I love your shit, and then boom, they give you something. They just hook up shit. So max out Discord, max out YouTube, max out Twitter. This is what you want to do in life. And if you could have a fourth one, that would be great. Like, for example, if you had a Rumble backing up all your content, that's always great to get some new eyeballs. But yeah, I think if you dominate red and blue, just YouTube and Twitter, I think easily you can die on Earth with like bare minimum $3 million.
I agree. Discord and Twitter friends, those are the people who will get you rich in life.
Yeah, yeah, and now it's different for if it's just clout. Then I think you have to involve TikTok and all that kind of
That's a
shit.
little bit more gay though if you're doing TikTok.
Yeah, past the age of 25, a lot of guys will say like they don't give a fuck about TikTok. I get it. I always think though, I don't think there should be a system on you winning. If you tell me Zerka, I get 20% better adding a TikTok, I always say be the winner. Add the TikTok. Do not follow me. I don't have TikTok, but you have to have a TikTok. So the winning answers, like a lot of you guys have never had your father tell you all that matters is winning in life. Okay. If you're not some evil guy, you have a moral core to you, then shut the fuck up and don't worry and just win. And when winning stops working, when you're just failing all the time, cheat. Because your competition is cheating you out of that victory. And people are like, what do you mean cheat? If you have the bodybuilding genetics to go to the top, inject. Period. Period. That's
Inject
your
what?
spiritual
What do
answer.
we inject?
That whatever the
Trend?
fuck your coach gives you, no, whatever your coach gives you, you don't have to build off trend. That you can do it other ways. But I got a guy who's like, I'm really good at basketball, but I don't know if I should take it all the way and try and get to the NBA. I'm like, dude, if you're even 10% the way there, you have to do that. That's your task. That's, winning is the only thing that matters. Winning matters more than you fucking living. I'm telling you right now, there you're gonna take risks in life sometimes, and you're gonna know they're the right risks. You're just gonna know. You have to take those risks. You have to do whatever you can to live your deepest myth. Who who I'm not John, man. I am Zherka. You have to be whatever you're becoming.
Okay, so why did you give up Snapchat? Because for me, Snapchat is, I source a lot of women from that because I'm able to showcase my life and post a bunch of shit. And I know you used to do that too. Why'd you give up on it?
Yeah, for me, anytime I let go of something out of the blue just randomly, it's always a level of stress in my life that I don't need. For example, if I get 10% more stressed having a
Mhm.
Snapchat, let's say I'm on my phone more, let's say, that means less hair. You'll have less hair in 10 years. And that means a more stressed life. You'll sound less confident. And you won't build your concepts up into this Tony Robbins level of motivation when you're 40 years old or whatever. You won't get there because you have a little app that just keeps taking your confidence from you. But now let's say Zerka ends this call, this spaces, he goes back to his life. Nothing electronic about that. But if I go back and I spend another 2 hours on Snapchat, all my thought forms get ruined. And people ask me this all the time. How fast does it take for life to ruin your thought forms, the good ones you build? And I would say maybe 5 minutes. 5 minutes on Snapchat could ruin your future potential. Even if you're making 20 racks more a month, it's not building your confidence to who you're becoming. That's why I delete. The less social media, the better. Just the ones that are mandatory. That's all, the only ones I want. And people are like, I could get you another 20 racks a month on Snapchat. That doesn't 20 racks a month extra will not benefit me at all. Unless you do it like Steiny, where I do nothing and I just collect the money. But if it's me stressed and I have to do shit, fuck all that. Hell no. You know? Hell no. Hell no. If it's someone else running it, that's fine. But I've never been the guy who's like, oh, 20 racks more here. No, I don't give a fuck. I set up only new passive income every 4 months. I only care for passive income. And I only care about this so much that I don't even do content for like 2 years. Right? I'm doing my own thing. So I only care about making money in a way that my hair doesn't fall out of my head. I'm never stressed because I want to die as the most confident man on earth, And right now, I'm I've been running that for the last maybe 10 years almost. I got to keep going with that, and that's my task. And I could just see Snapchat taking away my thought forms. Like I could just see myself being unsure, just for another 20 racks. Like Sneeko spends a lot of time on Snapchat. Like that can't be correct. Have you seen Sneeko how unsure he looks?
Sneeko
Like
is very unsure. It's making him lose his confidence.
Sneako's the only person that you could see at 40 years old. He could be a lesser version of himself. A lot of people's peaks, you want to see your peak, your long peak and your short peak. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you want to build into a crescendo of who you are. Like you guys want to tune into a Zerka speech when he's 35, because you're gonna be like, oh, that's gonna be tough, right? Whereas, Sneako when he's 35, you guys are gonna be like, whoa, he sounds even more scared than he is. That's how you betray your own soul. Is like when you just do things because notifications are telling you to. It's like people ask me, they're like, how do I know if I'm a bitch in life? I'm like, if notifications make you nervous, bzz, if that scares you, if that adds any excitement into you, then yeah, I'm sorry to tell you this, but your life sucks. It's headed in a horrible direction. When you see notifications, you're supposed to laugh, network, meet people. It's supposed to feel like, dude, you're supposed to jump out of bed excited to open your phone, be like, who am I meeting today? You know? And most of the people you meet, like 80% is like, it goes nowhere. But it's just, your life's supposed to go like that. And people's nervous disorders come from the fact that they're never meeting new people, and it's like a lot of these people you meet, you never see them again, but they just that new idea. You can meet someone new, they don't give you anything except they remind you of someone from somewhere that gives you this new idea, and that's because you're using love forces connected to them. It's I'm not gonna, this is like an advanced lesson, but look for the loving moments in your life if you want to ascend. It's always connected to love. Even anger is a forerunner of love, right? It's just love going too fast. It's got to be, at the right motion. Okay, let's go to the next one and we'll wrap it up.
Then how do scammers and drug dealers succeed and like get all this shit?
What? Say that again?
So how do evil people succeed and get everything they want?
Yeah, most of the time you see an evil person, they build up their moral fruits and they blossom as they're evil. That can happen. Have you ever been paid for something 10 years later? Yeah, all the time. You always get paid a couple of years after you do the work. Like you have to build into how you're being paid in the world. And you're doing a few years of good moral work. All of that is all given to you. But here's the problem.
Okay,
You can get bitter, and now you're getting paid as you're bitter, and you go, oh, wow, I'm evil and I'm getting paid. I might as well keep being evil. That's a slippery slope. But I'll tell you this, it's way easier to get paid being evil because free will exists. You can fuck people over. You can literally fuck people over for many years. Like who's gonna stop you?
Hey, so Zerka, I wanted to go back on this like Christ impulse white soul idea. And overall, what it sounded like to me, you were talking about it's like ambition at its core, right? That's what it sounded like. Like, g- figuring out how to make an exoskeleton and inventing things. I was wondering if you could like apply this Christ impulse idea to like personal and ambition, like individualism, the desire to individuate, find out who you are, transform. I was wondering if like the same principle applies in that scenario, like on an individual level, like you and clavicular, basically.
Yeah, I mean, before the Christ came to earth and did what he did for us, humans were group based. After that, they slowly, one by one, through evolution, got their own faces, their own personalities, their own inner men. They're every one differentiated. So anytime you see someone like an extreme narcissist in life, you're seeing someone who's fully using the blessings the Christ force gives them, even though they're not supposed to morally degrade. People fall off the ladder all the time. But if you ever see a narcissist at the mall versus just regular people at the mall, the narcissist is actually activating the gift earlier, way earlier than the unconscious people at the mall. And by the time the unconscious people find out, like most people enter into slight ego consciousness, like after freak shit happens to them for what, not for the first 45 years of their life, like they're so late. You got to remember, thousands of years ago Egyptian pharaohs entered into ego consciousness thousands of years before you listening, and you have it easier because you're in a later time. It's easier to individuate now than back then. But there's people thousands of years ahead of you on ego consciousness when they were all group identity. These are called forerunners, right? Like, what do you think you're seeing when you see Nick Fuentes? That's a forerunner. That's why all of society goes, whoa, whoa, how does he speak like that? That's
hey, would you say clavicular literally speed ran his incarnation in a matter of a couple of months, turning from Braden to
yeah,
Clav?
yeah, yeah. I think the most interesting part of clavicular is that if anyone else did what he did at that age, it wouldn't happen for them. But for him, all the wheels turned. He saw it, right? It was that thing. And I don't think we've ever seen anyone at a younger age individuate that early. Because first of all, why don't souls want to individuate that early? Is because that's how most people die. If you see a lot of Disney stars who individuate early, they come into their ego consciousness and it comes with some fame, and talent starts springing out. um, or if they're really high level, then they're not in the limelight. A lot of those guys, like really high level, but I'm talking about Disney stars. That's what they want. That's what they came here for. It's a very terrible. Like most of my students calm down. They're 18, but they go the slower path because nobody wants Clav's pressure. Clav has the most amount of pressure a human can have to die. Like all the forces, Disney forces, are at Clav's doorstep. The only thing that's like keeping Clav more alive than them is the fact that he's not in Hollywood. He's kind of like running his own ship. So it's a little different of a thing. But you know, if he keeps going years from now, going hard, if he doesn't find those moments to stop and smell the roses, you know, find his middle, which how do you find your middle when you're already fucking skyrocketing? It's impossible. You go zigzag this
So
way and that way.
from him turning Braden to Clad and him speed running that shit, what was the biggest factor? Was it like meditation? Was it belief? Was it networking? Like what really like gave him that turbo boost
It's
to
none.
fucking become?
It's none of those things. It's trauma. He clavicular or Braden. He had that moment that I had at a very young age, but his pushed out earlier for him. He had that moment. He said on stream, "I'm not invited to anything, and my family." As I get older doesn't, they can't hang out with me because they're not my age. And I want to be a part of a loving group, a social life like the whole world, but I don't fit in anywhere. And he just had that cold feeling where he turns to stone and realizes that, oh, your parents can't jump into your mind and do it for you. Your parents wouldn't even be able to do it today because they grew up in the 50s when everyone was social. So they would freak the fuck out. They wouldn't know what to do. And so as soon as Clive felt like, oh, I can't even have a girlfriend. If I do pop off, there's still going to be hoes. Everything is against me. And I'm alone. And he's at that age where spirituality cannot do anything for him because, yeah, it's you have to get hurt to go towards the spiritual. And he turns to stone and says, "Well, do I roll over and die, or do I take the biggest leap of faith, the trauma jump?" And he jumps into methamphetamine. The scariest fucking place a soul can jump into is methamphetamine, and don't ever think because it's the prescribed version that it's not the most dangerous thing you could do. And the whole world is like, if he makes that jump, he'll pop the fuck off because that's crazy. No one would do that. Zherka wouldn't do meth or heroin or crack, and he's the most extreme. This kid, and he's doing it way earlier than Zherka. He watched Zherka. It's on Zherka. Zherka is to blame. And I'm like, I didn't do meth. But people make the same argument. They'd be like, cocaine's the same shit at high doses. It's the same. You start losing. And I agree, it is at high doses the same shit, right? I agree that it all goes to one direction. And people are like, the whole world is watching Clav not just because he's an intelligent guy doing what he wants and he's getting it, but they're also watching for that moment where they see him crack, where the high voltage finally takes over and fucks him up. And that's why humans watch streamers, by the way, is like if you've ever noticed, Logan Paul's fans, most of them, half of them, still want him to fuck up on camera or to do some suicide body shit. Or they love the attacking aspect. That's why I say if your audience loves and hates you at the same time, you will be really successful. Like Floyd Mayweather successful if you're doing this kind of work. Now, was did Clavicular have no other options? He weighed out his what's going to happen, and he chose the only path that is necessary because he said, hey, everyone goes in life making mistakes and getting broken. I want to get broken by the mistake that I know for a fact in my heart is going to push me to the top. And people are like, well, how the fuck do you Clap know that would push him to the top? Dude, when you're about to do meth and extreme measures in front of the public while you already have a following, it's such a 2 + 2 = 1,000 formula. It's like, for example, how many of you would watch my YouTube channel if I said, hey guys, I'm going live and I'm doing 1,000 milligrams of trenbolone for 4 weeks straight?
I would watch.
You know how many
I'd be
viewers I
scared to
would get?
watch.
Do you know how many viewers I would get? Like every day you see different changes and the masculinization and everything. but it's they're not just watching for the, oh, this guy's changing at a rapid speed. They're also watching for the fact that everyone intuitively knows he's dying on camera. And that's, I hate to make it like a black pilling thing, but Cloud's a young guy. Let's say, do you think he can do this till he's 25? No, something has to be deleted, like the high voltage of even Adderall and stuff that's going to burn him out. The high level pressure, he has to start deleting pressures as he's at the top. Even if it means his audience calls him a little more boring, who gives a fuck? Marlon's the most boring guy on the internet. He goes live, takes the money, and disappears. Everyone, Ice Poseidon goes to Chile, stays in a van. If you want to get good at the game, get good at getting boring as well, because that fucking extreme shit will take you. What is Clav gonna get shot by some black guy for trolling on the streets? Like, how far is he gonna go with that? That's why I'm like, dude, if you find your middle at the top, you can escape all the damage you've done. People are like, can you escape doing harmful things to yourself? Yes, if the lesson is learned, you can escape. You don't have to face the consequences. The problem is the soul always says a little longer, a few more years. And I'm telling you right now, the way Klaus should see it is he should lock in into his health and say, how can I keep this going without stressing my central nervous system with all the meth or even if it's Adderall stuff, it's just at a young age for many years, it's going to be bad. And who the fuck would tell him how many years he should do that for? I think the best way to do it is like, name of the game. Can you do a couple months of getting paid a lot of money being boring? If you can do that, squeeze in those months and tell yourself these are the months of the year I'm going to do that, and that'll be you constantly slowing yourself down. And people will be like, "Whoa, what the fuck? You lost the 20% of your viewers. What the fuck happened this month?" And deep down it's the right move to make, so you have more longevity in the game. But how do you tell that to someone on amphetamines? Who the fuck wants to do a job they hate to do? Like, no one wants to be a fucking streamer. You think you do until you're doing it, and then you're like, you know what? Let's run the fucking amps. Give me the amps. Let's do this job the right way.
Oh, you don't think Clavicular wants to be a streamer?
Fuck no. That's all he ever talks about is that it's fucking bullshit. It's a bullshit job. He does it because it makes him successful.
Dude, fucking
I think, yeah, he'd
spitting
rather
this
just
live
fuck
comment. This is
bitches.
brilliant. But I have one question before you fucking
But
turn this
here,
shit
I'll
off.
tell you this, man.
Look good,
You can
look good.
tell
Yo,
that
having a
someone
girlfriend is
here.
gay, right, Zherka?
Yeah, 100%, right? You do whatever you want. But check this out. You can tell
Facts.
someone
I
loves
agree.
you can tell someone loves to be a streamer if they're sober. That's why I point you guys to Speed. I'm pretty sure Speed is sober, unless he's on some Adderall or something, which that could fuck him up later. But if you love doing your job sober, you love your job. If you take Adderall to be a streamer, you don't like to stream, period, point blank.
Bro, but Adderall got you
Okay,
your
hey,
first
hey,
million, no?
you made you made Clav's incarnation make sense, but what what is the point of packing Neon's incarnation? Please explain that.
What is the point of Neon's incarnation? I think at the end he's going to learn that you cannot buy love because there's a consistent theme with him where he has to like buy the woman, and he pretty much gave up on the idea of love and that you can find a good human being on who's 3 billion women. You can't find one good one, so he has to learn the godly lesson the long way. And he's doing the funniest way to do it, which is incarnating as a little Indian guy who makes people laugh, and it's a fun one. He's having a really fun ride, right?
Yeah, he is.
Zerka, I run a business model
He's
where I get
Indian, bro.
lots of legal pressure. You know how Myron wanted to make a Hofax, so I actually made one. But what do you recommend to deal with like the legal pressure and the threats from it?
Yeah, I always maintain that I don't care what your business is. If the level of stress that's coming into your life from that business is bigger than the reward, then I think you're becoming worse at what you're initially doing, like your original career, whatever it is. Maybe it's public speaking. If you can make 20% more money a month. If you sound like a worse speaker over time, then you're taking yourself out of the $10 million for an extra 20% a month over 12 months. That's nothing, dude. Like, just monitor confidence, just like our dads always told us. Monitor confidence. Confidence will get paid. Make sure it's genuine. And confidence only builds when there's no excessive stress there. Excessive stress means excessive thought forms. You already have enough thought forms. You know, you should be like a rhino, your third eye, right there, one thought form at a time.
That
One.
would be Zerga. That would be moral imagination, right?
No.
Confidence. You said
Yeah,
that. You
I
said that
mean,
confidence is the
moral
mind
moral
moving forward.
imagination is something that will something that rises within you when you have been doing this, what I am telling you to do, when it's your blood to do this naturally over 10, 15, most people 40 fucking years. It's something that's going to arise in you like one cell of your body at a time. That's you should not see it as I'm snapping into it. You should see it as okay, what how does all of Zerka students do this? They delete everything. They start with their wardrobe. You throw away all your clothes. Every piece of outfit you have, you throw away, except some neutral colors. You throw away everything that reminds you of all those years in the past you did nothing. You become a new person within your clothing, your wardrobe. Then you delete all the apps plus all your gallery, plus all your photos. You delete so much until you become this empty version of yourself you're going to slowly fill over 2026. You delete all the friends, all the bad thought forms. Then you delete all the media you watch. When you're at zero, it's very easy to meditate one time and say, I know what I want to do with my life. But when all the distractions are there, and yes, your Nike jacket you've had for 3, 4 years can be a distraction. It can put you in the state of your high school self, you fucking idiot. That's why there's ritual throughout history for winners, warlords, champions. That's why life is a cartoon. It's a video game. Your clothes have equips and armor. That's why I look different on every podcast. That's why I have a different look every fucking week of my life, right? And it's not about wasting money. It's not about buying nice clothes. None of that shit. It's about staying in the middle of yourself without the mainstream influence or your friends or whatever. And your goal is to sound like yourself if you had no family, no friends, stranded on an island. How would you sound? Would you sound like your true self or would you be a little fucking bitch? That's your goal every day is I don't care if you're 15 years old or 50 years old. You should sound like you're stranded on an island and you don't speak. But when you do speak, you're going to stab that fucking buffalo and tell it, die, motherfucker. I'm going to eat you. I'm going to eat this pork. You're going to live. You're not just going to give up and say, oh, I give up. This island is too hard. Who you are on that island when you're fucking alone in the world without even God listening to you, when you feel all alone, that is your inner man. That person has to push forward before your personalities get in the way. And your personality that you die with at the end of the day, you keep building and then you eventually die with. All the versions of your personality are going to adhere to one version eventually, like all the colors of rainbow converging. That colorful personality rainbow has to fuse with the white light, which is your inner man. When the sun and the moon fuse like that within you, you are at full levels of individuation and wholeness, which doesn't mean paradise. But you'll look in the mirror and you will see what you've crafted, what you've been working on your whole life, and you will get it. And you'll see that that person in the mirror serves something higher. And that sounds so weak. Like I serve someone. That's the only nature of a human being is to serve. We don't have another nature besides to serve the Christ force. And the great cosmic mystery is at the end of this, that thing that you dedicate your life to, that you are serving the Christ force, you're going to cry in tears of joy when you realize it's giving you what you actually originally wanted. You just didn't know you wanted it. And you're going to be like, what? It's that about me? The whole adventure was about me? But I thought it was about God. And you find out that when you find God, He's all about you. And it's the most humbling experience of your life. That it's like, I felt so small. But then you feel infinite, right? Like God is backing you up every step of the way throughout anything you do. And people fuck this up so hard with just getting old and getting, people stay stuck at a level of consciousness where they go, I think I'll just die here without knowing that I've died. And I think we battle that. That's the only thing we can do. And you don't battle that being a little Nick Fuentes chatter, like I do politics all day, or a Zherka chatter, or like, what the fuck? You're not supposed to be a chatter. Chatter means unconscious. Unconscious people, you can have things drive you into jumping off a bridge. It's dangerous. Nick Fuentes is not unconscious. Zerka's not unconscious. Clavicular is not unconscious, even though he's, drug maxing and fucking up his consciousness there a bit. We'll see how long that lasts.
Not even
But
Sneeko, right?
no, not even Sneeko, not at all. You think Sneeko is deeply unconscious? Hell no. His followers are. And the influencer that doesn't keep
What about
repeating.
Gary?
No, he's individuated. He has his own religion called numerology. Like, that Gary generates love with numerology. That's God smiling upon him. As in, like, as stupid as it is, it's kind of cute. He feeds his family with it. It's like, you're supposed to generate love with, just like people say to me, God doesn't want Michael Schumacher to be a race car driver because it's dangerous. It's like, what? Dude, you don't get this at all. You don't get anything. You are a faggot.
So this is like basically what separates wanderers and seekers.
Well, it is strange that a lot of people in ego consciousness get inwardly dry eventually. Like, have you noticed how many successful people they sound like looping tracks and all that? You can eventually lose it. Like a lot of people build a good life for themselves and they're like, oh, life just got boring after that. Most rich people say that. You can see it in their eyes. They're bored. So that's why I say when you link it to career, yeah, it's not really worth it. Yeah, after a few months, you're going to be like, that's not worth it at all. You could have the nice car, you could have all that. You're gonna be like, what the fuck is this? But if you're striving to unfold more, to enter higher worlds, to reach for the stars, and you're not forcing it, you're not going too fast, you're going right in the middle path of what you know is right for you, then every second on earth, you're like, I can't wait for that day where I unfold more, right? And then some people just close their eyes and they take whatever happens to them, and that's the opposite. That's being unconscious. But I always say never stay at the level of consciousness of a millionaire. There's so much higher places you can go. The whole world is going to be shocked that you even go up that high. They'll be like, why didn't he stop at like, for example, Andrew Tate is at a level of consciousness where it's a great life. It's a rich guy life, but then he gets really irritable because he's stopped unfolding for many years, and I guarantee you he's not going to unfold until his brother dies, or something happens like that, because he's just choosing to be inwardly dry. There's nothing there left. It's over. It's genuine. Yes, you can smoke cigars until you croak. Many people do that, but that's why in the esoteric community, throughout thousands of years, they'd always say, if you've ever stopped climbing your mountain, that is by definition either satanic or luciferic, right? As in, the gift stops, the blessing stops. I want to stay here. If you ever stick to one part of evolution, you freeze. That is by definition missing the mark. But if you're always reaching up higher towards the stars, and people are, what do you mean always? Do we ever get exhausted and take a break? The breaks are when you're unconscious, dude. Like, you have many breaks. What are you talking about? Like, most people take 2 centimeters every decade. You should be, and maybe that's an exaggeration, but you shouldn't be waiting for tragedies. You should be armored for tragedies. Like, you should be ready for anything that happens. And people are like, man, staying conscious about all this is the hardest part. Because without the Zerka channel, and he's barely ever live, like, where the fuck do we have people who keep us just, on our mission? And it's like, there are people out there, except, they're called shamans. They're called, there's certain wanderers. And so there are certain people you meet that they don't tell you, but they have that look in their eye that, they're unfolding. They're not here just for to hold some money, like Gary. Like, Gary holds money. You could tell Gary's, he's very stuck at one place. And you're gonna see it, like people say, how do you know someone's at a level of consciousness we can respect? And I'm like, you've never You've never watched someone's face without knowing it. You'll know when you see their face. You'll be like, oh, damn, they got hurt. They got severely hurt in life. And through pain, consciousness unravels. You should welcome all the suffering. All the pain is good. It's more than anything. Like the painful moments of life is what you should look forward to. You should be like, it's happening. It's my turn. It's happening to me. Now it's turning me into stone. Oh, I'm going unconscious. I can't take this. Is too much. Wait a minute. If I struggle and stay conscious like Zherka wants, what if I'm those guys? What if I'm those guys who snap into schizophrenia? Because that can happen. Fuck. Should I trust Zherka or should I turn into a schizophrenic? No, that's forcing it. If you're going to turn into schizophrenic, back down a bit. It's fine. You'll have much more time on earth to do it. But if you know you're not going to snap into schizophrenia, you say, I take the suffering and I keep doing my daily tasks. There's no forceful thing. It's more like there's an energy to walking in alchemical fire, just purifying all your evils, just torching you, where it's like, whoa, this is so intense. And eventually, the intensity, it becomes your aura, your Super Saiyan aura. And you're like, how did I ever, this is warm. Why does that trauma feel so warm in the middle of my heart now, surrounding me? And you're like, whoa, I was that evil. It hurts to, yes, pulling evil out of your aura fucking hurts, man. Are you kidding me? Why do you think I have this fucking face? You can see how much pain you can see the crystallized pain in my face. Crystallized pain is wisdom. It carves you. For some people, it breaks them. For some people, they lose fucking hair. But if you approach it with Christ force and love, you keep your hair, you stay beautiful. And if you don't, you look like Jason Statham, bald and fucking taking every bitch. That's what you want to do. And people are like, damn, does it have to be so powerful? Well, if it's too much for you, you can always do it unconscious, like every little Mexican family you see at Walmart. You can join, it's not like the Lord is not cruel. You can do it in an unconscious way where it's a blur. Everyone goes through the blur. Everyone, even the highest level of consciousness, they've always said, I tap out for this week. You know when you're doing it too, right? And then there's people who are just cooking in the fire, like that Eileen woman, that Eileen who lost her grandmother at the peak of her karmic reward, where her treasure was, the gold medal, her heart was, just like scripture said. Just like Anthony Joshua losing his best friend, just like what I talk about, not what Nick and these people talk about. These people have no wisdom. These people talk about politics with Sneeko. I'm telling you right now, you face your shit like a man. And you're going to be like, in 10 years, Zherka was the only channel that was actually a loving YouTuber motherfucker. But why was he loving? And then you go, oh, he was the most hurt. That's why he chose love.